Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Knowledge and Relationships with Rico and R'Shaun. Bear with me, bringing Rico up right now. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday to you, too.
I'm not doing so well. Happy Wednesday to you.
Oh, so you got me, too.
I know. Like, holy smokes.
Yeah, because we used to do it on Monday, see?
Yeah.
Easy mistake to make. Yeah, all right, Rico. So now I wanted to let everybody know why we are here. Just pull up the thumbnail real quick. Aged out of the conversation when it suits you. So we are going to be talking about ageism, generational differences, eldership, and digital difficulties in this day and age. So this all came about when Rico was having a conversation with Brother Clarence. They were going over a reaction with Kevin Samuels, who had popped on a Peace panel. Was it, Rico? You might want to take it. You were there. You were there. You might want to recap.
No. It's a recap of Kevin Samuels when he was doing a video. It was on their Sage Talk on their Sunday show, and the big issue was how he addressed this young man, and kind of had me and Bro Clarence a little heated about it. But so we just wanted to go over like the differences between, because it was really a conversation between older men and then a younger man, and the way that the conversation just went way crazy. And you know, the young man actually ended up coming off to me and Bro Clarence as the most mature person out of the panel, and he was only 23, and this was with Kevin Samuels, who's 52, and a couple even older gentlemen. So we need to talk about it.
Definitely. Really quick, Rico, just want to shout out to the people we have in the chat. We had JP, the aspiring matriarch. Definitely appreciate you for popping in with us. Of course, the CEO, he doesn't like to be called the boss because it's a collective. Mr. M3, he is, oh no, that wasn't him. This one was him. Wait. We got him. Wait. There we go. That's the real M3. The other M3 in the chat was me running the StreamYard, everybody. So there's two of us. All right. And we have the intellectual soapbox. MrBest in the world, 84. Thank you for popping up. And Mr. He said, almost forgot. Yeah, definitely. So appreciate you for stopping by, sir. And I'm going to drop your channel in the chat momentarily. SO Hopeful, thank you for popping by. Another person that just popped up, definitely. And MrBest said he'll be here shortly. He's eating. So Rico, just a recap while I pull up a couple of links. What was the conversation about that got Kevin Samuels in that sway in the morning, in in the conflict?
Well, the conversation revolved around, I believe they were talking about young men and their image, their image, what do they dress like, so on and so forth. And obviously they were getting on young men with the saggy pants and the long hair and all the ethnic image, how they appear. So some way or another, the conversation devolved into, I think, Mr. Lee of Sage Talk. He was correctly stating that young men should all own a suit, and I think everybody was in agreement with it that if you are a man, 18 to 80, you should own at least one or a couple of suits. And the young man Sway Lee came in. He was not in disagreement, but he was also saying, this is the new generation. We don't wear suits anymore like y'all used to, this, that, and whatever. And he basically kind of was agreeing with what they said, but he didn't say it in the same way that they said it. And he was invited on the panel. So it was him, kosher clinician, it was a couple of other younger guys, and it was another OG, Uncle Jay Speed. So Kevin wasn't even on the panel. I guess he was just hearing it in the audience, and he came in hot, in particular, to address Sway Lee because he felt like he was being combative and disrespectful. And I'm watching the whole thing, and I'm like, he wasn't in any way. And the problem that me and Bro Clarence had was the way he decided to dress this young man down, who was completely in the right about everything, and to talk to him with this ageism thing. I'm 52 years old. I've been doing this longer than you've been alive, and this, that, and whatever. Well, somebody's always been doing something longer than all of us have been alive. So I thought it was one, he was completely wrong on the point. He was wrong on the way he misstated this young man's narrative. Then he came in and he bullied him with ageism. And then I was also very disappointed, being an older gentleman, the way the other older gentlemen on the panel completely ignored it, took Kevin's side, and helped pile on to this young man. Only one person stood up. And I think that that's a problem we need to talk about, because even I went on a couple of streams thereafter, and I'm like, we got to knock it off with this. The elders can't be corrected, because we can be. And I'm older than Kevin. I don't know if I was older than everybody on that panel, but I'm like, that's just bullshit. So I do think that, the younger generation, you guys got your issues and whatnot, but this constant deifying of us as if we weren't as ruly and rebellious when we were that age is totally wrong. And I'm like, this kid at 23, hell, I think maybe the only reason I would say I was as mature as he was I was in the military. But I was out in them streets being quite unruly and rebellious. And I'm sure Kevin was too at that age.
No, definitely. Really quickly, Rico, I wanted to go over a couple of things that had been said, because I thought these were problematic talking points. Like when Kevin came in, he asked the gentleman, how old are you? So I know who I'm talking to. And that was the first problem I had, because I'm like, how do you know who you're talking to by their age? Automatically, you're building in a prejudice. So I know who you are by the age that you are, because age is not identity. And I'm not sure why he chose that or to put his argument on that. So he's saying, I know what your principles are, basically, or I know what your values are if you tell me what your age group is. So I didn't even like him prefacing a comment like that.
And then, like, the second question after that is his age. So he's stating, he's creating, like you said, this by he's diminishing. Oh, you're 23. Well, I'm 52. So it's like, again, like you said, what does that have to do with anything? Not the fact, that's your opening, that's your entree into the conversation. And oftentimes in a lot of intellectual conversations, you don't hear that come up in intellectual conversations or discord unless there's something just wildly said that would make you think, well, am I really talking to a child? But other than that, and if no one's talking, and the thing that I really found so crazy is this young man had a level of emotional maturity. He remained quiet. He didn't overtalk. He didn't disrespect. He didn't interrupt. And like I told somebody, I said, what bothered me is they talked about him as if he wasn't in the room. So he's sitting there and you got like 4 people around him talking about him and what he said, completely mischaracterizing everything he said. And he's sitting there, blood probably boiling, having to listen to that as if he's a child. And this is a 23-year-old grown man who could be, if he had been enlisted, be on his way to Russia right now. So I think sometimes even as elders, even though, I got 23-year-old children, but the only 23-year-old that I look at as a child is my own. I don't necessarily look at another 23-year-old as a child. Obviously, I do as my own because that's that parental thing that never dies with us. But, it's like he was a young man, but he was a fully formed, functioning man. He had great points, great thoughts. And after 45 minutes of listening at people pile up on it, he did kind of, pop off at the end. But I was like, hell, I would have done it. You did it at the 45th minute. I would have did it at the 5th minute. He has more emotional maturity than I would have displayed in that moment. So I don't know the young man. I just say hats off to him. And up until my dying days, I'm in particular will take issue at, Kevin, Kosher, and Mr. Lee because they were dead ass wrong.
Now, let's actually address that. Were they really wrong or were they just having 2 different conversations? Because what I took from it was that was an argument of theory versus, like, theory or philosophy versus practicality. Like Sway was talking about, it's not practical to wear a suit all the time for every person. So he was talking about practicality. It's not this won't apply to everybody. So take what they're saying with a grain of salt. But he was talking about the overarching philosophy about presentation. Like he talked about the ABCDs because he's added the digital component to appearance. Which is
completely irrelevant.
Yeah. So I mean, but if you don't have a code and culture, the way you show up in the world is going to be, it can be chaotic. You see what I'm saying? So I think they were having 2 different conversations, but the way he approached it, bringing it up, was like antagonistic. And I will real quick before you rebut, I want to say an observant creator is in the building. Daniel, thank you. Peace and blessings to you, sir. Thank you for being here. And Quantum, the Leo, is in the building. So thank you for being here, young lady. Definitely appreciate you spending your time with us. But go ahead, Rico. You had a rebuttal.
Okay. Well, the rebuttal was this. What was crazy about it was they were now see, that's why I say, they were wrong. Even if that was a discussion about practicality and theory, he still was more correct because he brought into the conversation. The conversation wasn't about suits. The conversation was about the Black ethnic male image. So they just inserted a suit. He brought into it a holistic point of view and said how we need to worry about our behavior as well as what we wear on our bodies, our behavior, things that we idolize. He gave a story about how he was growing up and he was like most young Black kids. I want Jordans, I want Jordans, even though they couldn't always afford them. And as he got older, he realized those things weren't as important. So they wasn't even talking like that. He was. So he even brought in the behavior, the actions, the movements, and so forth. But for whatever reason, simply because he said, and it was a true statement, was like, we're not wearing suits every day like that, like you guys did. They just took that as an affront, as if he's questioning the value of wearing suits. He's questioning, like you say, the practicality and the sensibilities of when, and I explained, When I started out in the work field 30 years ago, working in the mailroom at a law firm, I had to wear a damn suit. Suits got killed about almost 20 years ago when everybody went to business casual.
Yeah, Casual Friday, man. I remember that.
It became every day. So literally, I'm like, as a perfect experiment, I would tell anybody, go into Macy's, go into Nordstrom, go to the men's section. You'll be lucky if you see 12 different suits. And you're going to have to pick between one of them and hope they got your size. The women's section, because they're not selling the way they used to because of the business casual aspect. These are law firms all over the country that no longer require you to wear shirts, ties. I mean, you could be damn near the janitor. I'm like, the guy at the ice cream shop in the 50s and 60s had to have a tie with that little cut hat. Guys pumping gas. The country has changed. So this entire concept around it, I'm like, I'm sorry, these young kids are way ahead of us. You know, when you see multi-gazillionaires like Mark Zuckerberg and even a lot of these CEOs, even if they wear a jacket, they're not wearing a tie. They're wearing sneakers. You know, the style of dress has completely changed. And these elders were trying to sit there and say, you got to go back. Even when you see, I think they had that big video. They said a video they did of all these black men that met up somewhere and they were all in suits. It looked like a couple hundred of them. That was kick ass. I'm like, they might have been going to a club. They certainly wasn't going to work. You know what I'm saying? Because there are not a lot of spaces where you go to. I work with lawyers. You know what they do? In most of their office, there's a suit hanging on the door behind their door in case they go to court.
Hey, take a pause real quick, Rico. Take a pause real quick. All right, I want to bring up, we have a guest with us. We have probably about 3 generations. I think Jay might definitely be probably in his upper 20s, not in his 30s yet. Jay Takashi, welcome to the stage, sir. Now, Jay, if you don't want to answer this, you don't have to. But are you in your 20s or 30s?
I'm in my 30s, early 30s. Like I'm 30. I'm 30, not 31. I will be 31 this year.
Okay. So cool.
All right, so 30 or 40 and a 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Guess which one is 30?
Rico.
Yeah,
but go ahead and finish your thought, Rico. Sorry to interrupt you, but I didn't want Jay sitting backstage too long.
Oh, absolutely. So the thing was the conversation, and I was like, it's true. What he's saying is true. And it really wasn't even about the suit anymore, because like I said, the conversation got completely skewed off of the whole suit. It was the fact that the way that they attacked this young man for something he didn't do, and the way that they publicly demeaned him, which I really took exception to. And I still to this day say, they were like, oh, he's all right, he's okay. I'm like, no, that's not okay. Because if I was to demean Jay right now, come on, he's still he's a 30-year-old grown man. The fact that I'm 28 years older doesn't mean anything for me to treat him any lesser of a man. He's a younger man than I, nothing more, nothing less. Only thing my age means is I've been around the sun a few more times. Okay, he may have done things at 30 that I had never done. You know, now I'm sure I've done things at 58 that he ain't done at 58 because he ain't got to 58 yet. And I don't know what he's gonna do by the time he gets here. So you can't push that whole narrative. Yes, I know some things that he probably don't know, but in all due time, he will know them, and probably better than me. So again, to come into, and especially a space where you feel like as an elder, you're supposed to be instructing, then instruct and don't demean. And that's what it was. It was, to me, that was what bothered me the most. They took it out of the space of instructing and talking and teaching, and it went into chastising. And I'm like, what was really blowing me away was, I was like, the young guy's not wrong. He's right. I get it. If you tell me, I'm sitting there saying, I'm imagining if I'm Jay and I say, Jay, do these 10 things. He do all 10 of them and I still fuss up.
Appreciate you, Rico. Real quick, I want to introduce. We got 2 more people to bring up. We're gonna let Jay Jay say his take, and then we're going to get them in as well. First of all, we have this young brother from your region of the United States. We have the truth is never favored.
Yo, when I say you guys are lit, shorty. I had to come up here and parlay with y'all. I haven't jumped on here with y'all in a minute, so.
All right, appreciate you. We're doing good. But we got one more introduction to make. We got the person that's probably about to kick me up out the spot because this is the second day this week that I've been in her spot, and she's trying to take the throne back. We have the first lady of YouTube, JP.
Peace and light, y'all. How's your spirit? I would like to say for the record that it's not true. I have ceded the 420 space to R'Shaun, the double R's as I like to call them, or R squared, depending on what time they've been drinking or for how long. Having said all of that, I'm cool with being at the 9:30 smoke session. You just got to stay up late, R'Shaun, and support me. Bow. Much love.
Can I at least ask you? You guys have seen this clip, right? Have you seen it, Truth and Jay?
Yes, I did see it.
Okay, good. You've seen it, Truth, right?
Are we revisiting the situation with Sway?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I just wanted to make sure everybody saw it.
All right, so real quick,
we're all speaking from a space of knowledge.
I'm going to hit you all. First, just give your general impressions if you saw the clip, but then I want you to give a counter to what I'm about to say. Starting with Jay, since he was here first, then Truth, and then J Pam. Elder versus older. Like Rico said, some people that just have been around the sun a few more times. An elder should be a state of prominence, where some reverence is implied. So should everybody that reaches a certain age be considered an elder, or are they just simply older? So touch on your thoughts, Jay, and then Truth, and then again, JP.
All right. But basically, and also, by the way, I have also seen the vid of when I saw the clip where unsolicited security boss talked to Sway and about, the whole thing of what was going on. And I heard what Sway had to say on that too. But let me just get to the clip personally, first of all. It was uncalled for, and it was like a bunch of I ain't gonna lie, a bunch of people trying to attack one person and demoralize one's character. I do know that right there. And the reason why I'm going to say you're demoralizing his character, the man was agreeing. He was agreeing with Kevin Samuels. There was nothing that he said. He didn't interrupt him, like we talked about in the stream. He didn't interrupt him. He was very polite, and he turned chicken and ran away after he had to say what he had to say. I'm gonna say this and then I'm out. And I'm just like, huh? No, let him respond to you so you can respond in kind nature, like he let you talk. Now let this man. Now you stay here and let him talk. Whether I don't care what age you are. I respect my elders, yes, nonetheless. But you can't just dip out on the conversation like that, especially when you try to make a point. Well, you're at a point of contention and get to my point. When actually there was never anything to really be contested against. We were agreeing with each other. The difference was you misheard. He heard what he wanted to hear and then just bounced off that and went on some tyrant rage. I do mean tyrant. Because that's really what it was. Because I'm like, what does any of that have to do with what he was saying? At all. But my whole thing was, Sway wasn't respected and he was disrespected. And he was trying his best not to lose it. Which probably better than me, probably, because I'd have shut that down right now. I don't care. You're not going to just sit there and just misconstrue something that I said in order for you to get a point off. Now, when it comes to elders, when Rilla came in and things like that, listen, I agree with what you said, Rilla, but there's one issue with that. Sway agreed with him, but the thing is, he wasn't talking back to the elders or whatever. Everybody talked more than he did, and the thing was, you didn't see where he was coming from. He even said he agreed. So I think it was just more of, we're elders, let us talk, and you should be seen and not heard. I know everybody knows about that phrase because I got told that as a kid, which I was like, listen, you're a child. You should be seen and not heard because you're in grown folks' business. I used to get told that a lot. I can tell the same thing to my kids when I have them, but when they get older and they're men or a grown woman, You're in adult conversation. I'm not gonna treat you like a kid still. You still gotta respect me, but the thing is, we're gonna have grown conversations. I'm an adult and you're an adult. So that's how I would do that. But like the whole situation is just like it's like misconstrued chicken to me. That's all it is. Because I also saw a man trying to make who stand firmly in what he believed in, and I saw everybody else except maybe one adult. My man. What's his name? The brother that agreed with
J Speed.
My man Sway.
Uncle J.
What was his name?
Uncle J Speed.
Oh, J Speed. J Speed did great. He's the only one that actually said something, so I'm proud of him for actually hearing what he had to say. Sage, he gets less credible for me anytime I talk. Plus, I don't really watch his streams, but just hearing him talk the one time, I don't think he heard what was actually being said. That's the difference. And the thing is, like I said, you really gotta know when to step back and really hear what someone's saying, and just don't and your weak prided ego, put it to the side, and actually pay attention to what's being said. But that's my whole thing on it.
All right, appreciate that. Let me give some shout outs real quick before Truth pops in with his take on everything. We have Hanifah Naila, who is in the house. Thank you for being here, young lady. We have Ariel Michali. Forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce that. But thank you for also being here. Definitely appreciate you. Our Twitch gang, Summerman's Pies. Thank you for spending a little time with us. I was over there, her stream earlier. They were doing some kind of mystery game I'd never seen before, so I'll be going back to check that out. Victor Freeze Music. Thank you, gentlemen, for stopping by. Appreciate you, sir. We have a Cars Car. All right, appreciate you, sir. Don't think I've seen you over here, but thank you for popping in. And we had One Manosphere versus Manosphere. We don't really need to talk about him too much. He's Anyway, AR, thank you for stopping by, man. And we got Over the Top, WME. This is Over the Top. It always is over the top, and you take it even further over. So thank you for stopping by. Spend a little time with us. But go ahead real quick, Truth. What you got on the subject, please, sir?
Actually, I think me and Rico and I think Brother Clarence had touched on this. I think it was either last week or something like that. But, I was very appalled by it. You feel what I'm saying? See, I'm from the old school, like I'm an 80s baby. And I did come up in that time where, you're supposed to be, basically, you be quiet and you listen. But the thing about the people and the adults that I've reverenced, they gave us respect. They didn't use the fact that they were older as a domineering way. They were strict and firm. They didn't take no garbage, but they didn't disrespect us like that. They didn't come down, especially if it was in a situation where they trying to teach us something. You see what I'm saying? It was always in a matter that for me, I understood. Now if I was being a knucklehead, oh yeah, then it's go time. They ain't playing with me. I'm probably about to get the stuff knocked out of me. And I appreciated that because that's what made me and cultivated me into the man I am today. But again, with situations like the one we seen with Sway and KS, first of all, rapport has to be established in order to try to even come at somebody like that. We don't know each other on here, so you can't come off out of the rocker with me. We're still men, okay? He's a 25-year, I think he was 25. I think he's 25 years old, and KS 52.
23 and KS is 52.
23 and KS is 52 years old.
Yeah.
So that's a big gap right there. You see what I'm saying? Hold on for a minute.
That's not me.
Truth is busy. Truth is
man.
Truth is always sought after.
That was the backbone.
Yeah, they call him back to back. Yeah,
and
go ahead,
Baltimore
Truth.
keep be busy.
He better answer.
Yeah, my fault. No, that was the buzzer.
Oh.
So no, like I said, it's a big age gap right there. So you have to, first of all, you have to come in a manner of, like I care, and I care about your opinion. I care about, you know, what you have to offer, and I want to know, I want to actually see what's the disparity between us. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to understand. And he wasn't trying to come to understand. He was just trying to establish his position and who he was in this so-called YouTube hierarchy. These guys in this YouTube thing have put him on a pedestal where he thinks he can speak to people in a certain manner and think it's going to be acceptable. Men respect men. As a man of any age, you're talking about 18 through, whenever. Our number one need is respect and honor. So that's the number one thing I give to all men, and everybody know that about me. The first thing I say, please respect me. That's all I ask. We can disagree about anything, just don't disrespect me. And he was very disrespectful to the guy. And the gentleman on the panel, I think, other than Jay Speed, they all told him basically like he didn't have, I guess, how you say this? He didn't have a right to basically approach KS like that, but he didn't do anything wrong. He was quiet. He was calm. He explained himself, very articulate, and like that's what I was trying to understand. It's just like just because it's KS, then all of a sudden somebody posts a bell. No, we're not doing that here, bro. We're not doing that. Come honest. Come in a manner of you're trying to teach, but don't come domineering. Don't come disrespectful, man. That's all.
All right, JP. Let me shout out one or two people. I just saw Mrs. Married is in the building. Thank you for being here. Definitely appreciate you stopping by. Looks like M3 is back in the chat, and I believe we are caught up with everybody that's new that popped in. So, JP, go ahead and give us your thoughts, please.
So I did see the exchange with Brother Clarence and all of that. I also, watched that portion of the video. It's when we Jay said it earlier when he said a child's supposed to be seen and not heard. That's code for a child is supposed to accept this indoctrination. Period. I done told you what the lay of the land is, and that's what you're gonna have to do because that's what it's gonna take for you to survive. That was the generations, I would say, like parents who um, were coming into their own in the 60s. That's how they parented. I'm a child of the 70s. So that's what I got. And a whole lot of be a lady, but do men's responsibilities because I was one of three girls. So you're told this is how you have to move in order to live as I move forward with my kids. And I've seen with other people, it is like the gentleman who said, more respect on either side. I allowed for the fellas to be able to ask me questions and answer as many of them as I could and frame them in a way that made sense to them on whatever age level they are. But a lot of people still parent under that idea. And I think Kevin Samuels and those folks in that space are just of that mindset. So true, in reality, he could have said anything but what they said. As long as it wasn't what they said, he wasn't going to be correct. And that's the unfortunate thing of it. He could have been the same age as them. And as long as he was saying, this younger generation doesn't really need suits, they still would have come for him. I don't think it had anything. I don't think it was so much age as it was not knowing your place in the space, so to speak.
Definitely appreciate that. And I want to ask another question to the panel.
Can we get your opinion and perspective, Mr. R'Shaun?
I mean, on the whole thing, I have a whole lot of thoughts on it, and they're going to be coming out in the form of questions. So like you kind of get my slant on it. I mean, in general, I have a dualistic approach to a lot of things. So there's some truth to what he said if you take it in the abstract. Like if you take the suit as a symbol and not literally a suit, like Sway was talking about. the symbolism of your appearance and behavior and your communication and how you show up in the world is very important. But the suit itself is just a conduit to that. It's a tool that's in that tool belt of ABCs. Like, it's only suitable for certain times. Like, you wouldn't go work on a car in a brand new suit. You see what I'm saying? But there is a way to appear, even as a mechanic, that will make you look professional and thorough. You know what I'm saying? So ABCs of a behavior, whatever he said, that stuff is important. But the suit itself, it's like forest for the trees. You know what I'm saying? Like the forest for the trees. I'm so focused on the granular that I'm not seeing the bigger picture. The suit is just a method of your appearance. Go ahead, push back.
No, I'm not going to push back on it. I just want to know what your thoughts, and I definitely understand that. But one other particular point that we need to be mindful of, and I'm always looking at everything from the position of an elder, is because he came in so forcefully and so demanding, what that does when you come in with that I'm right, you don't leave any space to see if you could be wrong about something. And then I think, honestly, because that thing happened almost 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago or so, what's probably bothering me and still has my blood hot about it, in all this time and all this space, and I know he's gotten a substantial amount of blowback from people who flat out told him he was wrong, he still has yet to issue that young man an apology. He still has yet to admit where he was wrong or he may have misunderstood. He still has yet refused to do anything that a mature adult is responsible to do, to sit back, recap. No, you don't go apologize to him in private because you demeaned him in public. If you demeaned him in public, you must give that young man his dignity back publicly. But it's more important that Sway has to swallow it, and he still get to hold up this, I'm also perfect. He's not the only one. I'm always perfect. I'm never wrong, Mr. Samuel. But yet we all watched him publicly demean and berate that young man, and that young man didn't do anything wrong. And as someone said earlier, it may cause him to be jaded about the older generation, about there's going to be another one of these old fools popping off at the mouth. People who watched it. So even when I heard people say, oh, Sway, he's cool, they worked that out, he owes Sway an apology, and he owes the community an apology. We need to see him publicly apologize for his transgression. You know, Arsene, I always tell you that's one big thing that's big for me, is that when I do something wrong, I will apologize. And I sit there and say it would make him look better by owning up to it than having this, he won't apologize publicly because he just don't want people to see him do it. I think that makes you look more weaker. That's just my flat out spin on it. And he owes the community an apology because he held that young boy up on the public square, and he did that on the public square. And that was a young black man, and they always talk about they're for black men. Well, you dressed him down publicly. You need to apologize publicly. Come on, Devil.
I agree with you.
Pushback, Devil.
Yeah, you know I got some pushback for you because we keep coming back to that, trying to hold people accountable. We keep trying to hold strangers accountable. Yeah, that's what you're asking. That's what, Rico, you're using different words. But what you're saying is, but you can't
to hold himself accountable.
Yeah, but you want him to. Yeah, you want him to.
I want him
right.
to do
so hold on. Okay, hold on. Just pause, Rico. Breathe for a second. Two things. I'm gonna bring up our next guest. We have somebody that came up specifically for Rico. Mr. AR-15 in the building.
Oh, me and him got some smoke.
Mr. Trump 2024 in the building.
That was you and R'Shaun.
What's up, Rico? Hi, everyone. JP, Truth, Rico, R'Shaun, how you doing?
We're doing good. How are you?
How you doing, brother?
So I wanna frame a question. I'm gonna start with AR since he's new, and I'm gonna go across the bottom. AR, Truth, JP, hit J, and then come to Rico. And it's what Rico's tapping in on now. So are we asking for a standard? Or are we trying to control people? Okay, so right now Rico's talking about, I want him to. Is this upholding a standard? See, a standard is something that people have agreed to and abide by. And I don't see that we have a community that he owes anybody to, because what community is he a part of? He specifically and almost expressly goes into capitalism, which is not a black community framework. So who does he owe an apology to is the first problem. That accountability for strangers is problematic for me. So it sounds more like control. I want him to abide by the way I live my life. So I want AR to speak to standards versus control. And whatever smoke you got for Rico. And then we're going to go across the bottom.
Oh no, I don't have no smoke for Rico. I actually agree with Rico. So I'm gonna answer your question. I think it's a standard, right? Because Kevin Samuels don't want someone to speak to him that way, right? So if Kevin Samuels don't want, but this is the issue, right? And I think I answered your question, but let me just say it real quick. People have to stop going to these panels that allow the panelists to disrespect you. If I come on this panel and Jay starts yelling at me, going crazy at me, and I'm looking at R'Shaun like, okay, but I'm like, I feel, and R'Shaun doesn't kind of nip that in the bud, then okay, then that's probably a show I won't come back on, because now I got to act like I got to get in my I don't want to say it, right, but I have to in order to meet that ignorance, I gotta show a higher amount of ignorance.
Oh, matching energy.
I got to do a higher energy than what he currently has in order to overtalk him, and now it becomes like a screaming battle. But if he disrespected him in public, he needs to apologize in public. The thing about it is that you got to understand, not just black people, but Kevin Samuels got really famous from being disrespectful. So people put him on this pedestal. I think Rico was saying that, put him on a pedestal to allow him to continuously to be disrespectful. This man is very, very disrespectful. But when he spoke to Nicki Minaj, he didn't want Nicki Minaj for her to tell her fans to attack him. So he was very quiet and very, very cool. That panel allowed it. Like, forget Kevin Samuels. I'm a guest on your show, R'Shaun and Rico. Y'all gotta check people. Y'all can't be having people talk to me like that, because now I'm gonna mess up my platform when I act ignorant. Y'all gotta check that. Y'all control that. And you gotta understand, it's the same thing. There's a big issue going around. I think I addressed this the last time, right? That video clip is still there. That's still causing issues today. So people gotta say, okay, I went there, I got disrespected, but he's back there again. So fuck it. He must love it. That's what I'm done. That's it.
All right, Truth. What's your truth? What is your opinion on like this upholding a standard versus exerting control on others?
Well, I agree with Rico and AR, and we spoke about this, R'Shaun, countless times. Case in point, the series I'm going to start going into. What is an authentic man? You see what I'm saying? Again, the number one need of a man is honor and respect. That's our number one need. Every man knows this. This is synonymous across the board. Now, what also is synonymous across the board is common decency, goodwill towards all people, all men. Respect. That was not shown. That should be a standard. People should be, if you want to say the word, held accountable or whatever. He should have self-accountability to not want to act like that. But we clearly see that pride and ego is a factor in his life, where that he looked at it, like Rico said, he looked at it as a weakness to apologize. I don't have that in my arsenal as a weakness. I will apologize when I'm wrong. That first value, right, R'Shaun? Exactly. So every man, if they don't have a factor of pride, they will come and apologize. That's part of being men. We own up, we wrong, we correct it, and then we go down. So there needs to be a baseline. I spoke about this, I think, several months ago, that decorum needs to be set on panels. And if you can't split hairs and want to bend the rule when you want to, it needs to be set across the board. So if respect is there, no one's getting disrespected. Not no women, not no men, not the panelists, and not the chat. No one. That needs to be strapped across the board. Case in point, like AR was saying, I come up on here and then you allow somebody to disrespect me, and then now I got to put them in place. I'm not going to go back and forth with them. I'm going to let them know straight up, like, stop disrespecting me flat out. You feel what I'm saying? But I shouldn't even have to do that if the rule is set, because they know better and they automatically know, hey, you come on here, you need to hold yourself, act accordingly. If you can't act accordingly, then dip. You see what I'm saying? Also, pretty much it don't even have to be said. Case in point, look how you gentlemen act. People automatically know to come up on here and be respectful because how y'all behave, how y'all carry on, how y'all address each other as men, how y'all talk to each other. That's the standard. Believe it or not, you setting the standard now. Y'all set the standard. It's here. So it's not control, it's order. It's order and proper decency. That's what it is. So for me, I agree with Rico. I agree with AR. It should be a standard. We would want for all panels to abide by that, but of course, that's not going to be realistic because we got people.
Yeah. All right, JP, we got MrBest. You got something to say before we go to the next person, or you just popping in and saying what's up?
Oh man, what's up,
He
family?
did sneak in the back door again, didn't he?
Nephew.
I always have the key. What's up, family? Hey, Auntie, what's up? What's up? You look great, Auntie. You look great. I see you. You
Thank
know what I mean? You
you.
look vibrant. You know what I mean?
I'm
Shout out
happy.
to everybody, man. Shout out to the family. Shout out to AR-15.
What's
To
up,
Takashi,
man?
my brother. You know what I'm saying? Truth. What up, Truth?
My
You know what I
man,
mean?
84, you already know what it is.
You already know, baby. You know what I mean?
Already.
R3. Rico, what up, baby? Rico Shimmy, I see you. You know what I mean? Sean, what's going on?
What's
You know
up,
what I
brother?
mean?
How you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. I'm letting y'all rock out. You know what I mean? And at the end, I'll respond. But yeah, rock out, y'all. So I know y'all in the midst of a conversation, so I'm just chill. I'm fall back.
All right, brother. We definitely appreciate you, man. If you got something you want to say in, man, just pop back in. We all got something to say, so we want to hear everybody's perspective.
I'm gonna take that as loving shade, R'Shaun.
I'm right here. I'm not going
What?
away. I'm right here. I'm right here.
What's love and
I'm gonna
shady?
let me rock out.
What I do now?
It's my turn to go, and you just like we all got something to say. Okay, cool, beast, no problem.
No, I said before. I specifically said before I let JP go because he's the newest guest. JP, you starting stuff. JP, you starting stuff.
Yes.
Auntie, rock out. Auntie, rock out.
Hey. You know what? We gotta police this panel. We gotta police this panel. That's what we gotta do. We don't let nobody disrespect. We don't let nobody disrespect. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, JP.
Bro.
You got me. Hey, you got me in the comment section, so it don't matter no way.
She was down there lighting me up.
Oh
You
boy,
should know
I'm ready with
JP
all the bows,
JP
bro. Come with
Hey,
it.
It's
but
time for a smoke break anyway.
Hey, but look, I'm gonna move her under Rico so she can't hit me.
Ooh, listen, it was 420 in the 520, and couldn't, y'all, I had to get my medication right. But anyway, look, when it comes to standard versus control, this is one of the things where I'm going to agree with someone whom I wouldn't normally, because I'm not a fan of Western psychology for brown bodies, but should is a four-letter word, right? Should is up there with cursing somebody. Telling somebody what they should do is one thing. What I would do is something different. What I will accept is something different. What line you cannot cross is something different. And educating each other making others knowledgeable to what that is for ourselves, and then figuring out how we can work together to get that into a cohesive thing. That's what community building is, and that's what I, is the responsibility of each platform holder under the terms of service. When you look at it, right, what you allow on your little box is what YouTube is holding you responsible for as an independent contractor. And if you don't follow those things, YouTube will snatch your behind down in a New York minute. And if enough people say they got a problem with it, YouTube will come for you, no problem. But in that same way, we as a people, if we can come together as a collective, can possibly get our community work environment to move according to what benefits us all rather than what sells tickets.
Definitely, JP. Definitely appreciate that. Jay, Takashi, if you are here, we got you in next, and then let Soapbox get on his.
A soapbox? I mean, I agree with everything that AR, my man, Rico, and True said. It's pretty much like I said. It's setting the standard of if this is the platform they're going to be on. Then make sure you have the established rules of that standard set. So you can't, like I said, nobody can't be disrespectful towards one another. Even on my stuff, I get tell people be respectful towards one another, or I will kick you out. And I hate to have to do that. And the thing is, there's no hate when I do it. It's just to let you guys know, yo, bro. I give normally everybody a warning. Like, come on, guys, don't do this. Come on, you guys are better than this. There's a reason why I have you on there, because you guys are able to respect one another, but don't get stupid. You know what I'm saying? Respectful discourse, healthy respectful discourse is the way. Don't scream at each other like kids, because you're all adults here. And I know all of us, like some majority of us are men here, and I know we got pride and all that. But sometimes I throw that crap to the waistline. When it comes to betterment of coming to understand you guys, I can do that. It's not hard. Trust me, one time I go off, you talk about my wife. If I had a wife, more often than not, then I'm gonna go off on you. I'm in the stream, and then you and me gotta square up. But other than that, like I said, just be respectful, courteous towards one another. That's all you got to do, man. Can't think you can talk to me no type of way, like with and Rick already knows. I already had that happen to me one time. Already on my brother Clarence's channel with a certain person who didn't even know me, didn't disrespect me, and talk like that, call names when I don't even know you all for it. So yes, and what was the other part, R'Shaun? Besides the standard?
Yeah, are we, like, I think you all agree that you guys are trying to ask for a standard. We're saying, hey, you're showing up in this online space and talking to strangers. We want to uphold a standard as far as appearance and the way we treat each other with decency and etiquette. The second part was, are we trying to control others by telling them how to apply the standard? So, it's like when Rico says, man, I want him to apologize. That's his will. That's Rico's will to want him to apologize. So is that a form of control that we're trying to push on others that we don't have any control over?
Are we imposing our own will? It can come off across like that for most people, but I think the difference is, I hate to have to say this because I'm like walking on eggshells. I'm gonna be direct when I say it. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not asking you to buy anything. Literally, I'm not. What I'm simply telling you is like, yo, this is what we set forth here. And if you're one of people that can't, go along with the standard that's here, then you don't have to be on. That's all. It's probably not for you. That's the nicest way of me saying it's probably not for you. The other one is you ain't gotta be here. That's me being direct. Because I'm not mean or angry. I'm just saying, like, you don't have to be here. That's all. And the thing is, my goal, especially if AR ever came on one of my streams, AR, I'll let you know right now, bro, because I'm using you as the example because we have talked. But the thing is, I'm not gonna let nobody come on disrespect you, brother. You and me is cool. And not only that, I got good connects with people. Now let's be okay. I'll never do it, but let's say we had a smoke session. I'll put the timer on and I'll be like, all right, bro, we can go 5 minutes at this. Let's do it. and it's not, and it's nothing's gonna get out of control, but because I know it's playful between us, like, and nothing's gonna get out of hand with us. We'll be all right. Like, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, you know what the deal is when I say smoke session or a roast session. You know what that is. So you get what I mean? So It's not like anything overly complicated whenever we're doing something like that. I'm not telling you what to do. I don't have the right to tell anybody what to do. You're allowed to do whatever you want to do, but on my platform or anybody else's platform, you follow the rules of what's set in that. Follow the boundaries that are within that standard. That's all you have to do. If you can't do it, then like I said, can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. Enough said.
Yeah. Appreciate that, Jason. It sounds like everybody's pretty much saying we need to set a standard, like especially when we're having these panels. We need to set a standard so that somebody's not coming in being disruptive. I want Mr. Soapbox to give his 2 cents, and then Rico, you close that out. And before that, Mrs. She Said, hello, thank you for being here. Glad you were able to join. So we got the whole Harris Tribe Media Group in the building, so thank you. Go ahead, MrBest and Rico to wrap it up.
Yeah, shout out to the Harris Tribe Media, man. Much love to them, man. They know what it is. I'm gonna say this, man. I thought respect is something that's understood, but I guess it's not. So let me be clear. You know what I mean? As one of the founders of non relationships, man, I don't tolerate none of that. You know what I mean? So it's not a threat, it's a promise. You know what I mean? So we ain't gonna tolerate disrespect. We're not gonna be disrespectful because that's not how we ever come off, but we're not gonna tolerate it either. So I think, people just gotta understand that. And people just have to let people have their views, let them live whatever lifestyle they want to live, let them do whatever they want to do. Like, you know what I mean? I don't really care who messing with who's doing this and who's doing that. I really don't care. You know what I mean? As long as you're not touching anybody in my family or you're not messing with nothing that I have, I don't care what you do, man. Ain't none of my business, honestly. But I think at the end of the day, I think when people put people in situations, you know what I mean, you're gonna get a response. You know what I mean? Yeah, BK all day, man. Rest in peace to Biggie, for real. You know what I mean? It's Biggie Day, baby. It was all a dream. And the dream became real. But yeah, man, that's really what I gotta say. I mean, I'm just gonna keep it
Thanks.
frank, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. Like, and I feel a way if anybody disrespects anybody on this panel, like, because I mean, we actually, really vibe with each other. You know what I'm saying? I'm still getting to know AR a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm still gonna get AR for not getting me on the show, but that's another situation. No, Mr. JR.
Nah,
No,
no.
Hey,
Hey,
we about to set a standard right now.
I love AR. He know that. But
I got smoke for y'all
no,
because y'all be texting me 5 minutes before your show
Hey,
comes
give
on.
a
Come
light
on.
skinned dude a little bit of control and see what he
I
do.
love AR.
Just saying.
I know.
Butterscotch.
Y'all calling for standards, man. Y'all calling for standards, man. Somebody got it.
This the butterscotch
C84?
standard right here. Just
What I'm
drop
talking
you down.
about?
Don't let you say nothing else. Butterscotch standard.
No, but
Go
listen,
ahead.
y'all all have shows and I want to come on, but y'all be letting me know like 5 minutes before your show comes on. And I'm like, but this other person told
I'm
me.
back for that, man. I'm back for that.
And that's what's the best. You are guilty for that. You be texting me like 5 minutes before.
I am guilty for that. I do
Oh,
apologize
okay.
for everybody in the comments and on the panel. I will do better at setting the schedule. I promise.
At least you admitted it, though.
Yeah, I
man,
will. Hey, I'm not perfect. You know what I mean?
No, 84.
Because I do want to support and come on your shows, right? Everyone's show,
yeah.
but just gotta let me know ahead of time, not like 30 seconds before. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Okay, well, I'm chiming in right now. I'll be on at 9:30 MST. That's 11:30 Eastern. I will be expecting you to at least give me 5 minutes of your late night time, brother. I appreciate you volunteering yourself for the first round of showing up with JP.
I love how she got the camera moving as she getting at you too. That's so funny.
Get him, JP. Get him.
Nah, but on
welcome to the family.
Welcome to the family. But to wrap up my pieces, man.
Yes.
Yeah, just people. People just gotta respect each other. You know what I mean? I know. We all have had talks. Me and our son have had talks about different things people have said about him or about me or whatever. And we've handled it accordingly. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I don't want to have to check anybody, but I will. I don't care who it is. I don't care who you are. I don't care who it is. I don't care how many subscribers you got. I don't give a shit about none of that. You know what I mean? So I don't care if it's Joe Rogan himself. He will get checked. So it is what it is. With that being said, I'll pass it to R3.
Joe Rogan.
Go ahead, baby.
All right. What I'll say is this. Like you said, R'Shaun, it's a question of whether or not it's standards and control. It could, as Jay said, could be viewed as control. I never looked at it like that because we're talking about respect and an apology. Two things that I thought everybody was taught as children. I know I was, and all of us, if you did something wrong, go say you're sorry. That's your first form of an apology. You took that toy, give it back, go say you're sorry. So I say when I say Kevin owed an apology, I thought that was the standard. You do something wrong, you need to apologize. And if you do something wrong publicly, you can't hide and give the apology in privacy. You have to do it publicly. So if the only way I could see, if he didn't apologize, he doesn't think he did anything wrong, and then that's a whole intellectual argument. So I'm not pushing that. However, if he believed he did something wrong, or if you know you did something wrong and you feel as though you can't apologize, I don't deem me as having any control. And I know there are people who are out there that are so messed up they can't apologize. I just see that person as a defective person. Something's wrong with them. They're broken. They came up through life. They just can't apologize. We just got rid of a president who said he never apologizes. There's something wrong with people who cannot apologize when they willfully know they are wrong, because they just can't be seen as apologizing. If that's that big of a deal to you, God bless, go forth. But I can't deal with you. I do really think because my whole thing was, if you watch the video, you could see in that young man's face the hurt as he was broken down. You could hear it in his voice when he responded. That might be lost on everybody else. And he may have forgiven him for it. But I'm like, when he did that, that was an impact, I feel like, on the community of like, this is when we talk about the struggles of young Black men in these spaces having a voice, and he supposedly is a champion of that he cannot publicly apologize for where it was supposed to be a teachable moment, and he broke that boy down publicly. Just say, hey, I was wrong. So I mean, it's exactly what AR said. He was spot on. They let him come into this space being disrespectful. They rewarded him for being disrespectful. They championed him for being disrespectful. And you have so many other people who are trying to mimic that, trying to get that same ascension, going through these spaces, being disrespectful. So I think the whole purpose of me champion for an apology or some civility back in the space is because we're going to have more people out there like that. If someone does, if it's not brought to heal, and only the audience and the supporters can bring it to heal by saying enough is enough. We've seen recently people in these spaces get out of control with the level of disrespect and lack of apology and so forth. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. So we can all sit back and say, hey, I ain't got no control. You know what? We'll watch the whole damn thing burn down. Because it's going to happen unless the space self-corrects. Unless it self-corrects and get back in, the whole damn thing's going to burn down, because we're pointed in a horrible direction. I ain't going to be a part of it forever like this. And I know I don't even want to get drawn into that space where all of a sudden I'm part of the problem, because if you're in this shit long enough, you're going to get some on you. It's just unavoidable. I think I got some on me anyway, but I'm going to try to do my best to do that.
All right, Rico, I'm going to ask another question to the panel, and this one's going to go a little bit deeper into, well, no, let's start a little bit lighter. So since Truth and everybody brought this up, if you guys were to make the decision, if you could enforce and hold accountable, what would be the rules of decency and etiquette that you would apply to people in these YouTube spaces? You can broaden it out to the world if you wanted to, but since we're talking about how somebody showed up on YouTube, how would you set up the rules of decency and etiquette? And so you're also speaking to other content creators so be mindful what you're saying. You're speaking this out to other content creators, so you're helping shape the narrative right here and right now. So what would be the rules of decency and etiquette that you would set up, starting with JP? We'll move across with Truth, Jay. I'll start with you three, and then I'll announce the next three.
Hold on, R'Shaun, save me for last. I gotta take care of something.
All right.
R'Shaun is that petty waiter that knows when to come and ask you how's your food right as you get the fork out your mouth, and you got to bite down good, and you can't say nothing until you do like, that's great. You saw me eating a Dorito. Anyway,
AR be having chicken in his mouth in a minute.
Right. At least I did keep it petite, trying to be ladylike up here on the panel, even though I'm messy and eating too. Okay. When it comes to, it's a community that you're building, and you are in the driver's seat. And safety is crucial. Um, Understanding the rules of the road, understanding um, your role as a passenger versus a driver, versus being the one with the map and the access to the radio, right? That's how you want to look at building your community, building your platform. I lead from a place of compassion, respect, trust, and I try to be that person as much as possible. I air, and it's so funny that OG Patrice would happen to pop in right now, because if there are any people on this panel that I have gone round the way with at some point, it would be OG Patrice. And at the same time, she's come and sat on this porch with me, and I've gone round the way with Rico and R'Shaun behind the scenes. But that's community building to the point where we can call each other family. So it's about what level you want to move at as well, and ultimately whether or not you can sustain it. So make sure that you're being real and true to who you are. Usually, whatever name you put up there says something about you as a content creator and your platform. So keep that in mind as well as you're starting out and getting off on your journey. So salute to you, OG Patrice, and then welcome everybody. Thank y'all
If
so much.
if I may, Sean, much love, Auntie. If I may, Sean, if I may introduce OG Patrice, if I may introduce Patrice, if I can.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I have to introduce the most realest person to me on YouTube. Everybody on here real, but OG Patrice. Oh man, I mean, I call her the realest person on YouTube, and she don't even have a channel. You know what I'm saying? And she is just the realest of the real. You know what I mean? Much love, OG Patrice. OG Patrice, how are you today? What's going on?
Hey family, I'm good. How's everybody? Salute to the panel. Salute to the
Hello,
chat.
OG.
Salute, salute.
Hey, happy Thursday. How's everybody good?
Everybody
Yes,
is
ma'am.
well over
Yes,
here.
ma'am.
Beautiful.
How are you?
How you doing, OG?
I'm wonderful. I tell you guys, it's so good to hear this conversation because it's long overdue. Man, it feels good to have this conversation in these YouTube streets with you content creators, because perhaps somebody got to be the first to set the tone to create a certain image in this sector as Black content creators. So if you guys are getting together and setting a standard and vowing to uphold the image of your content on your channels, because we can't be responsible for nobody else, only the ones that agree to doing it, and really come up with the standards, some rules and regulations, some policies, and literally try to hold each other accountable, if you will, for them, so everybody can be responsible for each other, right? I know that's not going to be everybody. Everybody ain't going to want to ride that gravy train, and at rightfully so, to each his own. But I believe that this is a great start for setting that standard on your channels, and who knows, maybe others will follow, because it absolutely needs to be some. Because I'm tired of the community looking a certain way when it comes to our image, when it comes to our standards, our morals, our values, our scruples, and our integrity as a people. So thank you guys for this. This is really good.
Absolutely,
I appreciate this.
Absolutely, OG, definitely. Rico, real quick, JP has something she wanted to respond to, and then Rico with OG specifically.
Thank you very much. OG Patrice, we say all the time that you and I had a roundabout, and then we came to a real understanding, but I want to express it because it matters right now. What it was, I've been on YouTube now only since July of last year. And really, if you count the amount of time that I've been active, it comes up to about 4 months, not even close to what I've actually been counted for, right? But OG Patrice was one of the first people in my chat. And at the very beginning, I was just doing what I normally do, read the same way R'Shaun reads certain comments or puts them up or whatever. And it was something in the chat that was said, and we had a roundabout about it. And I came to an understanding where then I would put up for a period of time, hey, if you want me to say something in the on the, put it up live, then give me a this in the chat. Little things to help the community understand how it was I was trying to move and understand them better until I got the hang of it. So if you are open with your community will be open with you. Use your comment section until you get to the point where you have a community tab. If you use other spaces for your communication with your people, do that. Anything so that you can keep your community understanding that you're trying. It's a journey for anybody starting out in anything new. And this is, like they say, the wild, wild west. And boy, Patrice can admit that we are definitely in the wild west all the way around. So it was relevant, I thought. So I wanted to say that. Thank you.
No, JP, absolutely. You absolutely right. And I think a lot of times the miscommunication can come from something that's misinterpreted in the chat, or even sometimes something that's misinterpreted what someone says. Just imagine someone saying something in the chat and you totally take it out of content. That's just like you do the same thing when somebody texts you, and you may take that out of content or send an email, and it may be and I think a little bit more etiquette and patient. Say instead of addressing it, say, hey, can you maybe explain a little bit more in detail? What do you mean by that comment, or what exactly what you're saying? Can you redirect it in a way? And I think that if they honestly do that, they're showing good intentions, that the first comment they weren't being malice or trolling, if they make themselves clear the second time around. But if the comment the second time around is literally a troll comment, then you already know where they coming off. But I have seen in these spaces too where a comment can get misconstrued as well, because conversations I could say something in a certain way and a person can take it wrong, and I say, well, I didn't mean it that way. And the thing that we need to start acknowledging as a people, when someone tell you how you made them feel, don't be dismissive of a person's feelings. In the midst of an argument, if you say something and it made them feel a way, because this is the thing, as Black people, we need to stop acting like we don't have emotions, because God damn it, we human, we have emotions. We all know we have triggers and we have things that can maybe set us off left or right or whatever, right? And we can try to center ourselves of that. But if I'm in my conviction of things, if I'm in an emotion of things, let me have my moment to do that respectfully, as everybody else should do. And then we can bring it back and readjust it. If the panel person whose channel we on need to say, hey, everybody calm down, take a minute, breathe, then let's do that. But I think when it keeps being forced, it's almost like you just keep poking the bear. See, there's people that do that too, and we have to be cognizant of that. But absolutely look at your channel, because the conversation you guys are having is, I had this with someone else. Look at your channel as your house, and you having a big party, and you invite people to your party. So your house is your channel. Your subscribers are your guests. And then you let another guest disrespect another guest in your house. How is that guest looking at you as the house owner? It's like, wow, you invite me to your house, and I'm down with you, and this is what you allow to happen in your house. So I think if you kind of look at it like that, you can get a better understanding. It's why invite somebody to your house and allow them to be disrespected. So if we can start being cognizant of that and protecting each other, I think we'll be better off in that. I don't want to see men disrespecting women. I don't want to see women disrespecting men. I don't want to see men disrespecting men, or women disrespecting women. We can definitely disagree, and we can maybe even have a little debate about it, and it might get a little saucy. But I'm talking about, it's a difference in that and disrespect. And that's where we got to know where the line in the sand needs to be drawn. But this is great.
Definitely, OG Patrice. I definitely appreciate that. Are you hanging around or are you popping off? Was you popping in and popping out? Or you
No,
staying?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna hang for a minute.
All right,
Oh,
everybody.
Sean,
I
I'm just gonna make a quick announcement, Sean, real quick.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, then I got to reset.
Definitely. If anybody wants to come up, if y'all in the chat, y'all want to come up, feel free to come up. I know we have a full panel. I will drop down if y'all come up, okay? And yeah, y'all can still come up, man, and still show your support. Go ahead, Sean.
All right, everybody. Real quick, what I need to do, I want to reset because we did not introduce the other two. MrBest, if you would introduce our other two newest guests too, Mr. He
most
said and
definitely.
Mimsy. Yeah.
Most definitely. You know what I mean? Brooklyn's finest. You know what I'm saying? The king of the Harris Tribe Media Group. Yeah. Mr. He said, what's going on, brother?
Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love.
Hey.
Peace and love. Also, we got, you know what I'm saying? She likes to talk real. She likes to read her word. You know what I mean? Her and her better half. You know what I'm saying? They have some very controversial and interesting topics that they talk about. I have to introduce, you know what I mean? Real Talk with Mimsy Limbs. Mimsy, how you doing?
Fantastic. How are you guys?
We're good.
Doing good, Mimsy.
Sean,
How you
take it
feeling?
away, bro.
All right, real quick, we're going to reset because I don't think anybody got to answer that question except for OG. I think JP answered it as well. But Rico's looking to jump in. He can't. He's chomping at the bit right now. So Rico, you go ahead and say what you got to say. Truth wants to go in, and we're going to get AR.
Okay. I don't even know if I'm going to answer the question, but something I've been watching the chat, and I just wanted to I know we left on the space of apology. And I know a few weeks ago, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 shows ago, we had one of the rare times we had a contentious show. And there were 2 combatants at that time, that night. I'm not going to rehash it. Things got real testy between them. But then, and of course, when I go to sleep, shit pops off. It was fine while I was up. But when I went to sleep, it got crazy. But I noticed, because even though I'm doing this content creation with R'Shaun, I'm still an avid audience, watcher, and follower of so many other people's streams. And at some point, I saw Miss Mickey Red give a full-throated, authentic apology to Marcus Rodriguez. And I wasn't sure where that was going, but it made me feel really good because I said, okay, this beautiful young lady, they had a misunderstanding, and that's what we're talking about. But she's grown enough to say, hey, maybe I misunderstood something and this, that, and whatever. I never saw if Marcus, because I don't even know if I saw it on this stream or maybe another one. I never saw anything with Marcus, but I don't doubt that he did. But it blows me away because I'm looking at them now in the chat, they fucking family. And that's the power of an apology. That's the power of being grown. That's the power of realizing that you ain't always right and you don't know everything. And even at me and OG Patrice's age, we can sometimes get sideways and say something, and but you gotta be open to that thought. And to see these young folks, I'm like, this is all I was talking about earlier.
Rico, I'm sorry, speak for yourself. I'm perfect, so that don't apply to me.
And I'm all day, every day apologizing. So you're right. But I mean, that's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's not even, in that instance, I don't think neither one of them was wrong. It was just a misunderstanding. But instead of them being like children, being in the corner, back up on his, shoulders up, back up on, behind up on their shoulders, I ain't apologize, I ain't saying nothing. You know what I'm saying? It shows maturity. And in my eyes, I already held them both in high esteem, but I hold them in higher esteem for showing a level of maturity that, like I said, we were talking about earlier, a 52-year-old act like he can't do. To say, hey, maybe I misunderstood and I apologize, because you're elevated when you get into that space. And I just didn't want that to be missed. I didn't want that to go past, and for us to understand that's an example of in this space where we do that. That's one of the things when I told R'Shaun, coming into this space, I'm not doing it if we're not willing to apologize, because as much as I think I know it's more things in this world I don't know than I do. So if somebody correct me and get me and straighten me out, I need to give a full-throated apology and an authentic apology and not try to go, oh, I'm not going to say this, I'm not going to say that. Now, when we were talking about the last thing, great, I'm glad to hear that, Marcus. That's beautiful.
Hey, Rico.
Yes, sir.
Rico, I got to put a pause on you real quick. We got somebody that's got to step down. We can come back to you so you can finish your thoughts, but we're going to go with a timer going forward because we got a lot of people in here. So,
And I'm
AR?
totally done with this last sentence. The only thing I was going to say was, you asked about what could we do going forward. I think as a content creator or host of a show, one, if it's hard, but if you think you're going to bring on a controversial panelist or guest, you need to vet the living hell out of them. And you need to put some sort of parameters. You can't, some content creators, you go out and you look for that hot guest to bring to drive your numbers up, and that's where your platform gets sideways. So we promise never to bring somebody in here with overly controversial views, or we're going to vet the hell out of them, and we're going to sit there and we're going to put them in a set of parameters so they don't offend our other panelists and guests. And that's it. That's one idea.
Yeah, definitely, Rico. I know if I bring on somebody that I know is a hot button, I mean, I would definitely police what their, their activity. Like we were talking with AR when he wanted to use the N word. I'm like, hey, chill out. So AR, you said you got to go, man. So go ahead and give us your parting shot, and then you can shout out your channel and everything.
Yeah, man. No, I just want to appreciate everyone. I think that we just gotta move. I think doing what we're doing now. Not everyone's gonna do to get along. But because there's some people, their channel are destructive. That's how they got started. They got their 1,000 views by being destructive. So, 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
So once they got that, they figured, no, but even when I speak to, hey, don't give me no time. I ain't gonna take that long. See, this is what we're talking about. See, this is the destruction we're talking
Standards.
about. I get
Standards.
No, but I think that's just what it is that like if you take it, people that selling drugs outside, they can make $500 in a day, but you're telling them to go work a legitimate job. They're like, no, I made money doing this. Why would I go and do what you're doing? Is going to take you 5 years. What I'm doing to get this car, I can get that in a week. So how do you even, you just remove yourself from these type of spaces? I think that's all you can do. But listen, thank you everybody, and Rico, I'm gonna pull up on you, man. I understand we try not to have no smoke show, but I got some stuff. Got some stuff for you. So the last thing I want to say is that 2024, you know what to do, man. No, you know what to do. Don't go to the mailbox. No
if
mailboxes.
If he apologize, I'll do it. Get him to apologize. I'll vote for him.
Oh, you talking about Biden? Yeah, man. Biden should. Biden should. Look what's happening now. But I'm not gonna get political on here because I don't want to make Rico wrong. But. Listen, I appreciate everyone though,
Definitely appreciate you stopping by, AR. Definitely appreciate you.
We appreciate you, bro.
Everybody take
care.
care.
Shout out the platform, bro. Shout out the platform, bro.
Womanosphere versus Manosphere and YouTube conversations, but Womanosphere versus Manosphere mostly. I have R'Shaun on. R'Shaun said he's only gonna be only on Sunday. He had a serious talk with me. He's like, nah, man, listen, only on Sunday.
Yo, R'Shaun, bro.
What we're not gonna do on these channels is be name dropping other people. We just talking about being messy, and then we want to name drop and make examples out of people. See, you can't have these conversations about standards and decency, and then you want to get indecent. You want to start throwing a little mud. No.
Don't learn today.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, bro. You just did that man dirty, bro. Like, cut me off. Yo, see, this is why we can't be friends, yo.
Listen, I appreciate everybody. I gotta get going, okay?
All right, AR, man. Thanks for
love
being
you,
here,
bro. Much love.
All right,
man.
take care.
Peace.
Much respect, man.
Oh, see, I didn't do that layout. See, M3 behind the scenes, man, messing with stuff. All right, there we go. All right, Rico, after he went, Truth said he wanted to go in. Go ahead and jump in, Truth.
Yeah, Rico said it earlier. Pretty much everybody knows what common decency and respect is, man. We know what it is. And for me, I really feel the atmosphere when I come on panels. So the behavior and the example for me.
Have you noticed any odd smells?
Huh?
No.
Paint thinners or anything like that?
What
You can go ahead. I tried to mute somebody. You can go ahead.
Oh. Yeah, no. For example, you and Rico, you know, come up on here. It's peaceful, respectful. People is taking time to actually hear people's thoughts, opinions. Everybody's being respectful. Not, I don't see, nobody being argumentative, no combativeness, none of that. And that's because the example you guys have set. And I think that should be an example for, most panel. But like y'all said, they have came a way. I mean, they came a long way as far as getting subs, getting likes, as far as behaving a certain type of way. So of course they're not going to change that up. You feel what I'm saying? That's basically they're looking at that as their cash cow. For me, on my platform, same thing. I let people know automatically. This is not a debate when you come on my platform. You see what I'm saying? We're not being argumentative. We're not debating. You come in here, you share your information, all the knowledge that you have. We're here to listen. I'm here to listen and glean what you have to offer. You feel what I'm saying? And vice versa. That's what we're going to do. So as far as that should be, I think that would alleviate a lot of the tension, a lot of the combativeness, a lot of the arguments, and prevent the disrespect. Because a lot of it comes when debate and people trying to force their opinions on the next. You see what I'm saying? And people
definitely.
people know what disrespect is, man. We got to start with that. We know what disrespect is, and a lot of people are convoluting disrespect with disagreement. We know the difference.
All right, Truth. Definitely appreciate that perspective. Now, we got two new people who have not spoken yet. I want to get real talk with Mimsy Limbs and then Mr. He Said. Get you in, and I'm going to give y'all a little bit extra time to rock since it's y'all's first time jumping in. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead, real talk. And then, Jay, I'm going to follow you up after them, okay? Cool. Real talk, you here? Mimsy. You're muted if you're here. Well, Mr. He Said, you go ahead and we'll come back to real talk.
Okay, I'll jump in. Thanks for having me. Great conversation. You guys know I love y'all panel. The conversation that y'all always keep pushing forward, and I think that's that's the difference. If I had to sum it up real quick, I would analogize it like school. You got some lunchroom tables that are high school lunchroom tables. You got some more efficient conversations going on at a more upper echelon table, maybe a college table. But even deeper than that, I think of it like 101. And, great minds think alike, because we were absolutely coming through tomorrow with podcast etiquette 101, because it's like speech class. I heard a lot, this week about if someone doesn't understand you, whose responsibility is it? And, I'm conversating with my wife, like, didn't we all go to speech class? The responsibility is on the orator, on the person speaking, to get their point across, to know their audience. And again, you just resort back to college. Everybody is not going to have the same echelon of conversation. And it's understandable, but there is absolutely a standard that we all should be held to as hosts, as panelists, and as chat participators. And if you don't have that level of sophistication, you should absolutely hit a remedial class, hit a 101 class, and start to work your way up to being a respectful, person that is inside of these forums. If you have to be taught, like the brother just said, like we should know how to behave as, quote unquote grown-ups, quote unquote college graduates, quote unquote people of sophistication, gentlemen and ladies. And again, we have the sophistication when it comes to our bags, when it comes to our Italian cars and our Italian shirts, but you don't have the English vernacular from the regular dictionary. You don't have, respect, honor, and just levels of humanity that we should all possess to know that you don't have to respect anyone, but you damn sure bet not disrespect someone, because the person that you disrespect might not like disrespect, and how they handle it is how they handle it. So, we just want to move the conversation forward and not get into the back and forth with everyone. But we do live in a realistic world where we know that sometimes people cross lines, and sometimes it can't be taken back. So we just hope everybody just puts their most mature foot forward, and move in a fashion in which the conversation moves forward, and we're not concentrating on the minute points.
Definitely, Mr. He said, I appreciate that. We definitely
Fire,
will
sir.
will
That's
be
real
pulling
fire.
in. We will be
Fire,
pulling into
fire.
that topic you're having because I want to hear that as well. I do want to push back on everybody before we go to Mimsy if she's here. Mimsy, if you're here, unmute so I just know you're here. Otherwise, we're going to skip ahead. But I want to push back on everybody because everybody seems to be under the impression that common sense is common or that everybody learned the same lessons they did. Again, this is not an attack on anybody. This is saying that there's a everybody. Well, I thought everybody knew this, or like Mr. He said, I thought everybody took speech class. Everybody didn't go to college. Everybody didn't finish high school. Everybody didn't have your parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents. Everybody didn't live on your streets and learn the same lessons. So that's an assumption that a lot of us are making, that everybody knows what we know. And I really want us in all of these spaces to come out of that because that leads to a lot of misunderstandings. That means when Rico says this, he means this because that's what I say. That's what I mean when I say it. And because I'm assuming that he means the same thing that I say, we have a miscommunication because you're saying something totally different. So we have to break that mindset that everybody's speaking the same way with the same terms from the same perspective because everybody doesn't know what we know. I've learned that the hard way. So
R'Shaun.
hold up. Y'all can push back in a minute, but we got people that have been waiting a while. So we real talk. If you're,
I just want to introduce somebody real quick. You know what I mean? I have to introduce our sister. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? She just hopped on. You know what I mean? We just conversated in the backstage. Much love to her sister Hanifah. Hanifah Naya, good to see you, sis. What's going on?
Peace to
Hanifah.
Peace to everyone in the panel.
Hey, sister.
I had my my headphones in, and I plugged them out because I did not want to sound like a rat, whatever you guys called me the last time.
You sounded like a mouse, little mouse voice. Yeah.
Yes. So, but peace to y'all. Thanks for having me. I can
Definitely. Well, no, you're the first one up. I want to skip Jay if you don't mind letting the lady go first, and then I'll come back to you.
Ladies first.
But Hanifah, I'm gonna give you, since you're new, I'm gonna give you a little bit extra time to speak on the topic, and then we'll come back to Jay. And then after Jay, guys, if y'all have pushback for what I said, y'all can. But hold on to it. We'll be back to you.
I think I don't need a lot of time. The only thing I was going to say, I had already said it in the comment section. One of the I used to be of the mind that if you want respect, you have to um, demand respect, I guess, or show respect for yourself, right? And that came from growing up around a lot of men, and it usually is related to women who dressed a certain way. So I used to be of that mindset until I got a little older, and I really started to be around men who just had a different level of consciousness, particularly a lot of men in the Nation of Islam, a lot. And the level of respect that I saw for Black women in general, no matter what they look like, no matter how they dress, but just approaching them as human beings. And I think for me, that's kind of the rule I follow. I tell people all the time, any space I enter into, when I leave out of this house, I don't just represent myself. I represent the man I'm with. I represent the children that I have. I represent my family. I represent my ancestors, right? And I most of all represent myself. So it doesn't matter how chaotic this space is. I have two decisions to make. I'm either going to introduce something different into the space, or I am going to remove myself. It is that simple. But what doesn't happen is I'm not going to allow the space to change me. I'm not going to conform if it's a place of chaos and disrespect. I'm not going to let it transform me so that I can conform to that. So that's why I was saying we are either respectful people or we're not. There's no such thing as, you go to this panel and you see that disrespect each other. That sets the tone. So therefore you go to the stage and you become disrespectful. You are either a respectful person or you are not. And that's kind of just how I carry myself. There are people that I've had to work with that curse me out and call me bees and everything, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. And I had to figure out a way, right, to navigate those curse words and those insults so that we could get to the root of the problem, which is where they needed help. And I did that for over 12 years. And so it has helped me in my relationship with other people as well. Sometimes people are hurting and we are so caught up in how they made us feel. I'll give a good example. When I used to be a Christian, right? When people get into conversations, and I was a Christian all of my 20s, what can happen is you just get so caught up in the fact that they're using all these curse words, right? That you miss hearing what they're really conveying and what they're really communicating. Sometimes people are communicating their hurt or whatever, and the only word that they can use to really convey or express how they really feel might be an obscenity to you. But if you get so caught up in that, you miss an opportunity to probably minister to, like, we used to use the word when I was a Christian, or to help that person, to give that person the help that they need. You get what I'm saying? So we get so caught up in that. So, but if I was focused on, well, they're cursing me out, so therefore that means that I could curse them out, everyone leaves the situation probably worse than they entered into it. So that was just really what I was adding, is that you either respectful or you're not. There's no such thing as I go into this space and I act one way, and then I go over here and I act another way because, well, over here they allow disrespect, so I don't flow with it. Nah, we have to self-govern. That's what self-governance look like. What do you stand for? Stand for that wherever you go. So that's my piece.
And when everyone have a moment, look at the back private chat and just read that and just know that that is the situation too as well. So please be aware.
All right, Jay Takashi, it is your turn. So are you available? All right, there we go.
Yeah, I'm more than available.
All right, play. What you got?
Oh man, everybody had such great points. I don't know what more I can even add. Oh, Jesus. No, keep letting the timer go. All I need is like 30 seconds, really. Overall, people need to understand that you're like what you said, brother Clarence. Nice to have you here, man. That's what's up. Glad to see you, bro. All in all, what you said about the common sense thing, you're right. Because I tell people all the time, I'm not using no big to me, this is just me. I'm not using no big freaking vocabulary. Like I remember the one time I talked to my ex and I had to explain the difference to her between contingency and constituents. And I said, these aren't, normally two related. And and the thing is, I would explain it to you. Just like I was explaining it to you, just like I explained it to people. I'm not trying to be I'm not talking down to you or you feeling lesser than me. No, the thing is, you're not well versed in this particular subject, so therefore let me educate you and know what and so the way you know it better whenever it comes up. Sorry about that. That was my phone. I don't know why I did that. But yeah, we have to understand like some stuff that there's some things that we know that people don't know, and take that in consideration because everybody ain't us. So you gotta understand that. And how we show respect towards one another, just calmly lay it on them slow, all right? Just take time to lay it on them slow. Because there's some things that you cats know that I don't know. And there's some things that I know that you guys might not know. So, I'm always willing to have my ear open for that. And, just like I said, just do it respectfully and just, respectfully and, don't sugarcoat it, of course, but, just do it in a way that they know that the message and the words are well received.
No, definitely appreciate that, Jay Takashi. Now we got our MrBest. Are you here to do an intro real quick?
I'm here, dog.
we need that intro, man. We need that intro, man.
Yes, sir. I'm here. I gotta introduce him. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? From California. You know what I'm saying? Holding it down for the OGs himself. He's one of the OGs in our sector. You definitely respect him, and he is talking about the better black life completely. You know what I mean? His channel's called Let's Talk the Better Black Life. I'm so honored to have him on the panel. You know what I mean? He's an example of what a man looks like. You know what I mean? A mature man. Our brother, Brother Clarence. What's up?
Wow, man. Mr. B, dang.
Like,
what are you talking about?
Bro Clarence. Yeah. How you feeling today?
It was a star-studded panel, Clarence, so we needed one more star.
Man. I'm honored to be on such a star-studded panel, man, with such good content creators, man. Great content creators.
He was almost scared to come up when he saw me.
Honored, man.
Uh-oh. oh.
Yeah, man. Rico, man. Rico start fussing at me. Rico start fussing at me for something, right? Yeah, but y'all, man. Wow, man. I appreciate y'all. I just got here, y'all, so I don't really know the
Okay.
topic. So if y'all can
Well,
help
real
me,
quick, I got you.
on the
If you don't
topic.
mind, because people had pushback for what I said. So I'm gonna put 5 minutes on the clock because there were
Okay.
multiple people that had pushback. That way you can just jump
Yes,
in
sir.
during that. So I'm just gonna be 5 minutes of free. Like everybody jump in where you can.
Yeah, let me.
Um,
Can I? Because I was gonna go and I please
Go
before
ahead,
I forget
start.
my thought because
Go
I
ahead,
had forgot it and then I just remembered it again. I'm old, y'all, so give me a minute.
elders.
No, hey, it's
Gotta
okay.
take your chances.
You
Gotta
listen.
take
You
your
got to
chances,
grow old one
OG.
day too. I keep telling my son that. I say you got to grow old one day too. But no, I wanted to say I love the conversation because I want us to realize, as a people that we have been more traumatized probably over the last 2 years than we ever have in our entire life of being on this earth. We are surviving and have survived a traumatic pandemic. We have survived and still are surviving atrocities that's still being done to our people. It being filmed before our eyes. Think like we have the last 2 years, guys. We have been I know I have been more traumatized than I have in all the 50 plus years I've been on this earth. Like seriously, between all that what's been going on in the last 2 years in my entire life. So it's time for healing now for us. It's time to be shown in a better light. It's time to have the example to be set. And if it starts here and the accountability with each and every one of us, then let's do that because I think that the trauma has got to stop because especially in these YouTube streets with us because we know every time we turn the TV on or look at social media out in that real world, it's more trauma coming because it just is. So if we can lessen it here and make this more of a place of laughter and peace and let's talk about the community and how to heal and how to bring peace and things to our people and come up with solutions for issues in the black community and what's going on with relationships or whatever you want to talk about. Let's do that in a respectable way, but just know that we cannot continue to traumatize each other in these YouTube streets and then go out in the real world and deal with the trauma that's going to come with that because every time we turn a TV on, we're gonna hear that. We're gonna hear that. So that's all I wanted to say.
All right, OG, definitely. You're definitely on some real points right there. Did somebody else have pushback for me?
No, very well
Yeah.
said, OG.
Oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead,
I'm
Rico.
sorry.
No, go ahead,
No,
Rico.
I don't have no pushback. I just want to
Always,
salute
as
OG for her
always.
well-spoken words.
Oh, all right. Well, it's not so. I don't really have. It's not really pushback because I agree. Because one thing I had to realize. I think it was like a couple years ago where it really set in that a lot of people aren't like me. You feel what I'm saying? They don't have the heart that I have. They don't love like I have. They don't stand on their integrity like I will. You know, people are comfortable being who they are. Now, with that being said, we look at the world that we're living in right now, and the movement of this liberalism is causing things to become worse. There's a lot more disorder. People are becoming a lot more hateful. Good is now being called evil, and evil is now being called good. You feel what I'm saying? And this all comes from, people just being comfortable with, you know, being entitled, self absorbed, and then not having someone there to correct them. You know, Rico can speak about this, and I speak about this a lot too. I see little boys 9 years old going to the corner store, disrespecting the corner man inside there, cussing them out, and I have to pull the little boy to the side, like, hold on, bro, we don't talk to them like that. but this is how they're being allowed to act. Like how you said, we can't control somebody, but this is what out of control looks like. You feel what I'm saying? And this is where a lot more people are becoming, being killed. A lot more families being being destroyed. And the people that we consider elders, they're being disrespected by this younger generation, which was never tolerated back when I grew up. So that's why I got kind of a little bit of pushback, because when I was brought up, we were supposed to respect our elders. We were supposed to listen to them. We were supposed to glean from the knowledge that they had. But when you're saying what you're saying, where it's like this, this liberty, just, people are different, and, allow them to be this type of way, then now we're allowing people to disrespect the people that we grew up watching. And that's something that I'm not going to stand around. Again, you can't control nobody, but you can still reprimand them and explain to them why that's not a good idea to behave like that. Case in point, most of us have children. You see what I'm saying? We do that in our daily lives of reprimanding them, teaching them right from wrong. That's just what common decency is. It's just teaching somebody what is common. It's not really like a thought. Common means something like that, I guess you would say normal. Like we would probably consider normal. It's just saying, hey, if I don't want to be treated like this, why am I going to treat somebody like that? If I don't want to be talked to like that, why am I going to talk to the individual like that? That's all it is. It's not nothing really big. I don't want to be cursed at. Don't curse at the individual.
No, I definitely get you, and I'll respond to what you said because I was slightly out of context. But I want to let before Hanifah goes, because she has a question. Jay Takashi has he's going to get ready for his show, so I want him to get his closing remarks and shout outs channel, so that after the stream everybody can go over and support. So Jay, if you're still available, if you could say your last words, and then we're going to come to Hanifah for her question, please. All right, Jay, if you're muted if you're talking. All right, well, then we'll go forward to Hanifah. You had a question.
Yeah, I had a question just for the panel in general. So I guess anyone can answer it. Do you guys think a lot of what we're seeing as far as, because I'm listening to what Truth is saying, and I think most of us 70s, 80s, were raised a particular way as far as our eldership is concerned. So I know, like with my 10-year-old, I allow space for him to self-express as much as possible, but also teaching him how to do it in a respectful manner. So recently, I'm still on the fence with this. I had to have a conversation with him and said, if you are talking to an elder and you are in public with that elder, and that elder says the sky is pink, you don't go back and forth with them. You don't argue them down in public. Okay? That's just me. And I'm not sure if that was correct or not, but that's the conversation I had to have with him, because they can, elder, the way that my son expresses himself and challenges what he hear, they can easily interpret that as disrespect, even though he's not being disrespectful, right? So I just want him to be cautious. So that's partially what I taught him about eldership and honoring his elders and so forth, right? And also I teach him about honoring his ancestors. But I had a question to the panel about, do you guys think that because what children see as grandparents and so forth is that grandparents have become so much younger now? Do you guys think that plays a part in it? Because when I say you have grandparents who are in their 40s and they're still going out to lounges and clubs and they're still watching certain things on television, and the children are observing that and seeing that, there's some of them are into the same things the younger children are into. I'm just asking, do you guys think that plays a part in like the decrease in the respect as far as eldership?
Now, before she answers, real quick, Jay, if I saw you pop up in the chat, if you're available, we want you to come up, say your last words, because we know you got a stream to go to.
All right, thank you. All right, guys. But basically, what I want to say is every person on this panel is correct. I love all your wisdom and inspiration, and I agree. Yes, we should because we're like from different generations, and all my like I said, I'm from the '90s, like '90. I'm a '91 kid, so I was taught, to respect my elders. But the same thing is, when you're become of adult age, you can have those adult conversations and join in conversations with your folks. But the difference is, once they reach that, you don't have that same power and control like you did before. Just you have to understand that, and you got to take your like self righteous pride out and actually teach. Well, I said teach the youngins, teach your younger fellow younger adult, certain things, but also be willing to hear him out what he has to say because it's not just about. You have to understand it's not about you, it's about them coming up to learn from you guys, and it takes some things because, like I said, their knowledge might help you. You gotta look at it both sides. Like my man Rico said, you gotta listen. You gotta hear both sides. It can't simply just be your way, and that is it. That is ignorant on the highest of levels. Me and my father still talk. I hear what he has to say. Here's what I have to say. Now he questions me like he did before when I was younger, but it's not near to the degree of like where it's disrespect at all. It's to the point where it's like he wants to understand. And sometimes he's grabby or grumpy, but I love him regardless. but we can still have those man to hand conversations. Like I said, um, so you got to learn proper respect from both ends, not just simply for you because I'm an elder, therefore I reign. No, 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 no. You have respect, yes, but also respect him too. He's not lesser than you. You got to stop that. That's not cool. That's no different than a dictatorship. So you got to stop that nonsense, and just be more receptive to what the youngins have to say. But that's all I'm gonna say to
Shout out your
for
channel.
tonight. And yeah, guys, I have two channels. First of all, you guys can find me at J Takashi, like how my name is spelled here. And I will have a chill out session tomorrow on my main channel, J Takashi. It'll be like either 7:30 or 8, and we're gonna, just pretty much, chill out and just talk about any number of topics you want. My second channel is Hakusho Live. I'm gonna be doing a anime stream for that at about 8:10. And I want you guys to subscribe to Knowledge Relationships and respect the Rico and R'Shaun show. I love these two guys. It's a crazy combination that these two have and chemistry that I really adore. That it's fun to come on here and talk about topics, have serious conversations, but also healthy and respectful towards one another. One of the reasons why I like coming up here, and also subscribe to every cat here who has a channel. Peace out. Y'all have a nice night.
Peace, Jay. Appreciate that. Everybody already know why they did that. Boom. I already had Hanifah's question kind of loaded, so I want to come back to that. Brother Clarence, I want to open you up and allow you the floor because we were talking about decency and etiquette. Then we're going to close out decency and etiquette with anybody that has any last words, and then we're going to go to that question that Hanifah posed.
Okay, so we're talking about decency. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
we got your old dinosaur.
Yeah, so we were talking about decency and etiquette in this YouTube space. If we were the master of it, if we could control it, if we could tell people how to operate, if we were setting a structure, what does decency and etiquette look like in this online space? You can do it from the generational point or just a straight ahead point. However you want to approach that, and then we'll unpack that.
Okay, I think that first of all, if we expect the children to be decent, then obviously we're gonna have to be decent to each other. A lot of stuff that's been going on the last couple of weeks. It's difficult to tell. You got to respect your elders, and they see us throwing rocks at each other. So it's difficult because it's difficult to teach hypocrisy, to teach around hypocrisy. Back in the day, when we just had to do it, right? Right, Rico? Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, you just had to do it, right? This generation ain't like that, man. They don't follow that. They don't follow that rule. So this generation is like when they see hypocrisy, they call it out on you. You see it in all of these different videos where these little kids are telling their mama, pull your skirt down or whatever. They when they see hypocrisy, they just call it out. So no more is the time where we could just, sling hash at each other we have to be the example of what we want them to be, right? It's just at a time now where we can't just say, oh, just do what I'm telling you to do. No, you can't do that no more. So that's I think the first thing. Next thing is we got to just keep promoting that understanding about like what Truth was saying about respecting your elders and stuff. You know, we got to show them how to do it, and then we got to keep promoting that to them, and then maybe it'll catch. But right now, man, all they got to do is go online and they can see grown men and grown women cussing each other out over nothing over YouTube. Anyway, that's all I got to say about it.
All right, appreciate that. Anybody, any last words on etiquette and decency before we close out and go to Hanifah's question?
No, I was going to take a stab at Hanifah's question.
All right, we'll come back to Hanifah's questions. We're talking about etiquette and decency. We're going to close that out. Anybody that has something to say on that?
One thing I would say about that, and matter of fact, I'll push back a little bit. I'm not going to push back, but Pro Clarence, I just wanted to say was, again, I just wanted to firm up where I gave that suggestion about controversial content creators, because I think we're all small YouTubers. We're not insignificant. I think we're the most important YouTubers in the space, because we talk about real substantive stuff. We don't talk about the salaciousness. We don't talk about we talk about all the stuff they don't want to hear, but they need to hear.
Right.
Okay, all the lessons is here. They don't want the lessons. They want the entertainment. And we don't bother with the entertainment because we know that's for a day or two. But unfortunately, sometimes content creators get baited into wanting to do the entertaining content creators. You bring them on your platform because if you notice it, most of the highly controversial, entertaining content creators, they collabing with each other. They just boosting their subs and their views off of each other. And yes, it's a money grab. It's a bag, but it's creating that, that straight up effect. But then you have that straight down effect when you can't maintain it. So they're forever hustling and chasing. If we talk about wanting standards and integrity, we have to resist that. We have to resist that urge to want to bring on, or if for whatever reason you say, and I know, like, Bro Clowns, I love you. He keeps a very open-minded platform about people who got sense and people who I think don't have a lick of sense. I'm gonna leave it at that. I ain't gonna name nobody. But however, you know what I'm talking about, bro, right? That's my brother. Me and him gonna be on together tomorrow. So when you decide you're gonna bring those highly controversial personalities on it, we got to do the duty of modulating. Or either that's where the disrespect on the panels get, because even I've been on some of his panels, and I'm gonna tell you right now, brother, I publicly apologize right to you right now today for sometimes allowing those people to get me out of character. And you've always given me grace, but I should have never done it. So I'm saying to you, brother, I'm sorry. I know, but it doesn't matter. We're big. I'm big on apologies. So even if I think about it later, no. We need these public apologies for the community to see that this is what grown ass men do.
I appreciate you, Rico.
You can forgive me, but I need to apologize for my transgressions. That was your space. That was your platform. You chose to do that. However, I let these people trigger me out of myself, and I shouldn't have done it. But I apologize, sir. So,
man, I appreciate you, man.
No problem. Sean, let me cover it. Let me cover this real quick. I'm gonna cover this real quick.
All right, cool.
I'm gonna cover it real quick. Yep. I have a lot of sayings I like to say. You know what I mean? And so I'm introducing a new one. So for the younger generation, it's my new saying for you. You know what I mean? It's not even to give pushback to Bro Clarence at all, because I respect them. But I want them to understand how serious it is of what I'm about to say. My new saying for you young folks is, do you want to live? Do you want to live? Point blank, period. I ain't sugarcoating shit for y'all. Do you want to live? I told a 19-year-old cousin of mine, I said, you are a legend in the making, but you're not a legend yet. Y'all young people, y'all dropping like flies, man. Like flies. All right? So if you want to keep doing things the way you want to do them, keep doing it. You won't be here long. You won't make it to 37 like me. I've earned my medals, and I'm still writing my legend. I'm a legend now, and I'm still writing it. So you want to get on my level? You want to get to where I'm at? Respect your elders, and your days will be longer. The good book says that. And ain't nothing wrong with the good book. Right, Truth? Truth, no? You know what I'm saying? Not to call you out, Truth, but you know what I'm talking about. Respect your elders, and your days will be longer. You keep thinking you know what to do, and y'all don't know nothing. Learn from people like Rico. Learn from people like Bro Clarence. Learn from OG Patrice. Learn from RTJP. They know what they're talking about. They've been there, done that. Y'all ain't doing nothing new, and they probably did it better than y'all. To be honest with you. So y'all legends in the making. Y'all not legends yet. And if you want to write your legend, you want to be around, listen to your elders and obey what they say. It is do as I say, don't do as I do. That's the code of life. You can't break that code. There's certain laws of nature and laws of life you can't break. And when you try to break it, it throws things in balance. And when there's imbalance, there's disorder. Things have to be in order and have to be aligned, not unaligned. So y'all keep doing what y'all want to do, and y'all gonna keep dropping like flies. But if you want to be a legend, you want to get on that level, listen to your elders, and that's all I gotta say.
All right, appreciate that, guys. We're definitely. I'm gonna bring that back up at the end, and that can be the last. But what I want to ask everybody up like a vote. This next question is kind of a big question, so I really actually want to give everybody like 5 minutes to unpack their thoughts. Except for Rico, because it takes like 25 minutes for him to unpack his thoughts. But I'm not going to give him 25. So 5 minutes for everybody to unpack their thoughts, because it is a big question, right? So, right. So, but again, it's a heavy topic. The next part is about like what Hanifah said, but I'm adding to it. So I want to give everybody 5 minutes. MrBest, please don't bring anybody new to the panel. We're going to close it out here. So everybody's going to get their 5 minutes to speak on this next topic in complete fullness. And then we're going to speak on what you just spoke of. Do you want to live? That's going to be the closing thing before everybody ends up, okay?
Great.
I'm about to bring up Hanifah's question. It's mixed with my own, so it's a big question. I would like to start with Mr. He Said, because I haven't heard his voice in a while. And then we'll go to Truth and OG Patrice. I'm going to move you up so I know. I'm going straight across that middle line. Mr. He Said, Truth, OG Patrice, and then we'll go from there. And I'm about to bring up the question here. Is the generational divide a function of the breakdown of the nuclear family? And are elders competing with the youth today? Like I said, take 5 minutes to unpack that. It's going to be scrolling so you can see it while you're talking.
The question is incredible. I think it's a perfect storm of a collective. The nuclear family definitely plays a part in it because there's been an attack on the nuclear family for a while. The perfect storm is just the individualism that we walk around with, which, the brothers spoke to earlier, which leads to, again, the blurred lines, the lack of definitions where, everything's up in the air. Like you guys just said, it's really no, format. There's really no bar. And I believe that that's where it all starts. That I heard the word here from a couple of the sisters, and, it's a word I use all the time, ancestors. I do get everything you guys are saying. We all wasn't brought up the same. We all don't have the same walk of life, but we do have all the same ancestors, and they would not be behaving in this fashion. And, for them to have done so much more with so much less, we should be absolutely ashamed of ourselves for the way that we, blur the lines, walk around being a bunch of individuals, no village raising family, no community, no family, which we need in order to have community. So it's a perfect storm of all of those things. And, the second part of the question of competing with the youth, I don't see it as a form of competing. I do think that you guys are right. This generation is definitely cut from a different cloth, and they are able to see the idiosyncrasies, the inconsistencies, the hypocriticalness. But what they're failing to see is that we're the ones that instilled the knowledge in them to be the judgmental little assholes that they are. So I kind of think that this generation kind of looks past the sacrifice that we made for them, and we've made such a sacrifice and made the world so comfortable for them that they just sit from their soft, cushy spot and they judge us. And I don't think that is right, because we, as their ancestors, and this is going to be the last thing I say, I don't even need the whole 5 minutes. I'm 47 years old. And my answer for all of those kids is I've been 21. I've been 31. I've been 19. You've never been 47. So, like you guys say, if we do have to have a conversation and if we have to err on the one side or the other, I think we might want to err on the side of somebody who's walked in your shoes. And to speak to baby girl's question, that if I'm, young man is talking with the ancestor and the ancestor says that the sky is purple, I think absolutely he should say, I completely, understand your point. I respectfully disagree and go about his business. And that's the difference between these young people. You don't have to be disrespectful. You don't have to be crass and go out of your way to show everybody that you would quote unquote G by, going X, Y, and Z. So I think everybody's cut from a certain cloth, and it'll tell the cloth that you're cut from the way that you respond to tough situations and situations as such. But this was a great topic, and I love everybody's input.
Man, appreciate that, Mr. He said. Truth. Let me go ahead and reset that clock for you, brother. Go ahead and rock out on that question. Is the generational divide a function of the breakdown of the nuclear family? And I know you feel real strong about the nuclear family, so I'm with you. And our elders competing with the youth. Because, again, we're talking about, we started from YouTube, and we're competing for the same likes and subscriptions and attention. So do you think there is, as somebody also said, they're in the clubs together. So is there also a competition between the elders and the youth? And go ahead and unpack that, please.
Yeah, well, absolutely. The nuclear family falling apart and almost going into a position of basically being obsolete is going to affect generation after generation after generation, because we're the ones born these children. You see what I'm saying? We're the ones setting the example, setting the so-called standard, showing them how to behave, and then the trickle-down effect is happening. We're watching them, we're watching their movements, and we're disgusted by it, but they learned this from somewhere. You see what I'm saying? For me, again, I grew up in that time where it was do as I say, not as I do. But we already know children do what? They do less of what you say and more of what you do. So did we. You see what I'm saying? Parents told me don't mess with drugs, don't sell drugs. Guess what I did? I saw them selling drugs. Guess what happened? I started selling drugs. They drank. Don't drink. What happened? I went to clubs, I went to bars, started drinking. The example that you set is the leadership that you provide. You see what I'm saying? If your example is poor, then it's going to create poor behaviors. It's going to create poor habits. And then those who glean from you, those who are learning from you, those who look up for you, they're going to take these things on. You see what I'm saying? I can go back to the neighborhood that I was in and, see, the kids that, were younger than me, the stuff that they're doing and things like that. And I might not like it now because my lifestyle has changed, but I can't look down upon them because I once was them. And the things that they're doing now, they picked it up from me. You see what I'm saying? I'm 37. They call me OG, the 21-year-olds, the 19-year-olds, the 18-year-olds. You see what I'm saying? Things like that. So I can't really get upset at them for the behaviors that they exhibiting now because I taught them these things. Same thing with my children. I allow them the space to open up and talk because that's something that I wasn't allowed to do when I was at home. But when it comes to discipline and setting rules, it ain't no discussion. When it comes to when you broke a rule, it ain't no discussion. We already made a pact. I explained to you the rules. The rules are set. You broke the rule. It's no reason why you broke the rule or anything like that. You chose to break the rule because you chose to do it. Now you got to accept the consequences and deal with it. That's not the discussion. We're not having discussions about that. Now, if we're talking about life experiences and what certain things we're learning and history and how do you know what it is to be a man, what it is to be a woman, what's the example, what's my life choices as far as education, school. We can have plenty of conversations about that. But when it comes to respect, behaviors, it's pretty much a standard across the board. Right is right and wrong is wrong, and that is basically simple for me. Um, when it comes to the elders and the youth, a lot of elders, they're still trying to live their best lives now in today's climate. You see what I'm saying? And that's where a lot of the tension is coming from. The youth is some of the old people don't want to get old. You see what I'm saying? And they're not acting their age. They still want to be hip. They still want to act, come down and behave like the young people and all this type of stuff. Dress a certain way, like how they doing it. And the youth is like, hold up, bro, it's my turn. You see what I'm saying? I'm living right here. You got to go off on, be 60, be 50, act your age. And a lot of people aren't acting their age. And then when you're not acting your age, and then you want to come and tell another young man, this is the example. Yeah, come dress like me. Come be like me. But yet you come down and disrespect them. Again, that behavior, that example that you're setting, they're looking at these things. How is they supposed to respond? Right is right and wrong is wrong. If somebody understand that something is wrong or they understand something is right, we're going to stick on that. We're just going to stick on that.
Man, appreciate your truth, definitely. OG Patrice, we want to get you in. If you're, are you still with us?
I am.
All right. You need me to restate the question, or you been mulling it over?
Yeah, I did. I want to repeat of Hanifah's question first, please.
Question, Hanifah, can you restate the question as you phrased it?
Sure. I was asking if do we think the a part of a part of the increase in the disrespect towards elders had to have to do with how young grandparents are now. And when I say how young, meaning you have grandparents that are 40 years old, for example, 40 something years old, and they are still trying to live out their youth. And our young people are also observing that. They are watching the same programs on television they're watching. They're into the same reality TV, the same music, and so forth. Do we think that that plays a part in the level of disrespect that we are observing from the younger people towards the so-called older people or elders?
Thank you for that. Um, in my humble opinion, yeah, I do think that it plays a part, right? Because of the younger parents or grandparents, like you said, that are in their teens, the parent, and then the grandparent is in the 30s or 40s, and if they are acting a certain way, it can have an impact on that child or their grandchild. And I've actually seen that be that child or grandchild become a product of that environment. And a lot of times people and then sometimes there's incidents where the child will be the total opposite. But I think the one that becomes the product of their environment has a lot to do with genetics, has a lot to do with what they inherit from that parent or grandparent, and then some don't. So it could work both ways. But I've definitely seen it be a part of it. I think if a child is at home disrespecting the parent or grandparent, how in the world do I expect them to respect me? I don't, because and honestly, all of us probably know somebody that's like that, or know of someone that has a child or grandchild that is that way towards their own parent or grandparent. disrespectful. So I can't come in these YouTube streets and expect, someone else to be from the younger generation and to always be respectable. And I've seen, for the most part, I personally have gotten respect from 99.9%. I'll say that it's just that 1%. And I think it's always that. But yeah, Hanifa, in general, to answer your question, yes. As far as the other question, is the what is it? Is the generation divide a function of the breakdown of a nuclear family? That's a yes and a no too. And the yes part comes from a lot of women raising children, single parents without the fathers. They're raised in this toxic environment that I just spoke of earlier. And the generation gap isn't there. The parent don't know how to raise the child because that parent wasn't raised by their parent. And it's just generational, unfortunately. So it can absolutely be and is the function of the breakdown, because if the father is not there and not there practicing a nuclear family, and you can even practice it as a family that is separated, because I remember my son's father had to go in a service, so he was not there a lot of the time, but when he was, he made it count, and when he wasn't, my son was still at his people's house, so it made a difference. So it's ways that we can make it work when the parents just can't get along and be together. But if the child is witnessing fights from the parents, it's going to affect the child. Are our elders competing with the youth? I know I'm not. I'm not even trying to. Like, I'm so ready and have passed the torch to my son, my nieces and nephews, and my family. And that's what I came on this platform in YouTube streets to do: pass the torch to the younger generation. But there's contention there in a lot of ways. The behavior has not always been the best from the younger generation, and has not always been the best from the elders. And we do need to find a way to bridge that gap. And I think the biggest part of it is communication, because a lot of the younger generation has a very headstrong personality, as you can't tell me nothing type of attitude. And then you have some that I've had real good rapport with. You've been able to break that, because I think if you look at them as adults and equal, just because they're young doesn't mean that they don't have a voice and don't have a mind and have something to say. And we really need to pay attention to what they're saying as well, and not just think that we have to come with a bunch of I know it all type of attitudes, and still be able to guide and counsel. But I'm ready to pass that torch. I don't have to compete. I've done my part. I've done what I needed to do being young growing up, and now I am trying to pass that torch to the next generation, because they are our next leaders. And I digress.
All right, OG, definitely appreciate that. I want JP, then Brother Clarence, and then Rico to go, if you don't mind. If you don't mind, JP.
Am I gonna have a chance to respond, Arshawn? I mean, to speak to it? I just have a question.
Well, yeah, because
Hanifah
this
didn't
was
go
your
in front of
question.
me.
Everybody was answering your question, and I thought
Okay,
so.
respect, respect.
Go ahead, JP.
Okay, so to put a flat answer on Hanifa's thing, no, I don't believe that it's the generational divide. Hey, Ron P, so glad to see you guys. Harris Tribe Media, thank you. Um, to answer the questions as they go by, is it's not the generational divide. I don't think that it's the clubbing, although there is an aspect of that to it. It's not a nuclear family thing, not competing with the youth. When you look at history, the relationships between mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, there is a bit of contentiousness that happens as maturity comes along, right? Autonomy as an individual happens. And I think that we don't pay enough attention to that. If we look back through the things that we know and understand. To put it in a reference that's outside of the Bible, but that's still religious, if you look at the Prophet Muhammad and his first wife, Khadijah, they were married for 25 years, and she was, I believe, 20 something years his senior. There are times throughout history and in community based situations where that is something that does happen. It's just kind of some way normalized. Excuse me, you all, I have to take a pause. Delivery. Sorry.
All right, Hanifah, since she has to take that, did you want to jump in now or did you want to hear everybody's perspective first? I'd like to give you that choice.
Um, uh,
You muted.
sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. No. I was saying everyone can go ahead and respond. What I wanted to share, I'll share it on my closing out to this particular discussion. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So while JP is away, Brother Clarence, if you would go ahead and take your 5 minutes, please.
All right, brother. So, question is the generational divide a function of the breakdown of the nuclear family? In my opinion, yes, it is. Because, like we were saying before, because father's not in the home, or like Sister OG Patrice said, like the father's not in the home, so the father is usually the enforcer, the backbone of the ethics of the family, and that person is not there. So now, you just move any way you want to move, as long as you, what they say, however you can get it is how you get it. You know what I mean? So most of the time. So I think without having that person to enforce certain type of ethics there, that's where you have the disrespect coming apart, and the hypocrisy becomes more blatant, because hypocrisy creates a conflict in the brain for these young people, man. They're not like us, who just respect was above everything. Respect was above even the hypocrisy you saw within your parents. The respect was everything, but they don't have the respect no more, because the person that's enforcing that respect is not there. So now they can clearly see the hypocrisy, and it creates conflict with them. And so they want that conflict addressed. So they speak it out loud. And if they don't get a response that satisfies them, then they start getting into the streets, because at least they say, hey, at least these people ain't hypocrites. They doing what they doing, and they doing it out, and you know what I'm saying? They're not hypocrites. You a hypocrite in here. So that can cause that as well. And are the elders competing with the youth? I think so. I think vanity has become the order of the day. Well, we've all heard people say, I'm not here to make friends. I'm just here to get monetized. And all kind of crazy situations stem from that type of understanding. So I think if we want to pull the young people back in, we're going to have to be, like I was saying before, the example of what we're telling them. We can't be telling them, okay, you just be respectful, and then we're not respecting each other. If they see that, that's going to create hypocrisy. They're going to see the hypocrisy, and they're going to say, they don't want no parts of no hypocrisy. They don't want to be a hypocrite. So they'd rather get in the street game, and just start doing their own thing, than to follow in our footsteps and be hypocrites. So we're going to have to be an example of what we want to be. That's why I try to have on our show, on my particular show, is just be an example of how to deal with lots of different people. Sometimes they agree with you, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they say stuff that makes sense, sometimes they don't. But that don't mean we got to just go bananas on them every time. You know what I mean? You got to handle them how you can handle them. And I try to be that example of how you're going to run into in life lots of different types of people. But still, you got to maintain yourself and maintain your your mental presence, so that you can handle them efficiently. because the one who loses the fight is the one that loses their head. So, but anyway, that's what I think. Yeah, the elders are competing with the youth, especially on social media,
All right, JP, you ready to jump back in, or you want Rico to go first?
No, I'm ready to jump back in. And sorry, what I was going to say was, when you spend time building a community and spending time with children, you tend to keep a youthful energy about you because you're interacting with the youth more often. You have to be diligent about walking that line between being auntie, so to speak, and being the cool adult, and being able to say, okay, there's a clear, I know you're coming into your adulthood or whatever, and there's some lines in the sand. And that is something that is experienced throughout history. That's my reason for giving the reference about the Prophet Muhammad and his wife, because sometimes no matter what either person decides to do, there's something else at play, and you just go along with it and accept it as is. My life in general, which the delivery, I have to say, was actually Daniel delivery or bringing home groceries, excuse me. So I don't need the rest of my time. I just want to say thank you to everyone for being in this space and time with me and letting me share my thoughts and perspective. I appreciate everybody up here, and I'll see you guys in the streams.
All right, JP. See you.
JP.
And I'll make sure we share the link when we're wrapping up.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a blessed one.
You too.
All right,
So Daniel said bye.
Will do.
All right, Rico. Listen, I'm going to step away when you start because I know you're going to use all of your 5 minutes. So what's your answer to the question, Rico?
I get 15, not 5. What are you talking about, 5? I get 15.
Hey, you know what you're going to get, Rico? You got 30 seconds.
Killing box on the way out. Look, let me just, first let me answer. Do something with the daggone box. Let me answer Hanifah's question. The preposition that she posed to us first. I think that the way that you explained it to your son, how to address the elders, I think that was perfect, because I do think that whether or not, like you said, you it's good to tell your children to question things. I even taught my kids when they were younger to question things from me, but I set boundaries in how they questioned me.
Yeah.
So again, that's correct to say, look, if an elder tell you something in public, you ain't got to believe it, but be respectful. That's a boundary, and then bring it back to you. So I think that the way you addressed that was perfect, because I tell my kids question every damn thing I said. There was nothing I could tell them that they wouldn't question it. So do I think that leads down to a breakdown among elders and the younger generation? I don't, because I think, if anything, the breakdown is on our parts as elders, because I think a lot of elders, as we gotten older, we got lazy about continuing to learn. So all of a sudden you get a younger person that asks you something and you don't have the answer. You want to get lazy with the just do as I say, not as I do, because you too lazy to know the answer. I've tried to never be that way. I knew that even with my mother, my dearly beloved mother, who I love to death. We get in those certain spaces, people of color, we think, even I fight my kids now, they don't want to watch the news. They don't want to know what's going on in the world, this, that, whatever. They're calling me. I'm like, what the hell are you calling me, asking me about the war in Russia, in Ukraine? You got a TV just like I do. Watch the damn news. They don't want to. So some people self-isolate themselves or self-dummy themselves down, as I say, and refuse to learn about a worldview, a holistic view about things. And then when they end up in conversations with people that are more inquisitive, Lord knows, don't let them be older. They're going to feel offended because someone who chose to stay up on current events are questioning them and they can't answer. So I've usually always tried to stay abreast. If I can't find the answer, I could always try to point my children or anybody who asks me in the direction of where to get the answer. As to the other question about, is the generational divide a function of the breakdown? I do believe it is a function. I do not think that the generational divide is the totality. I think also the generational divide is clearly because obviously the way we were brought up is different than the younger generation, but I also think things like poverty is a part of it. I think just the whole issue, the whole construct of currently, we didn't come up in such a capitalism always existed. But if you even look at it, you talk about like in the 60s and 70s, the divide between the haves and the have-nots was much smaller than what it is. It's exponentially larger now, and I think it led to a warped sense than what it used to be. Corporate CEOs used to make 50 times the average employee. Now they make something like 3,000 times the average employee. All of that feeds into, the breakdown. So you got people working harder today for less. When they talked about, you used to be able to 50 years ago, graduate from high school, get a job in a factory, could afford a family, the wife could stay home, and a vacation. You can forget about that shit now. So these are additional stressors that are on the nuclear family, in addition to the fact that I'm like you, like OG Patrice says, my kids are grown. I'm like, hey, I'm going to the DR. Fuck them kids. I'm like, I've done my time. I'm not going to. I love my kids. I love my grandkids, but I'm not going to let them take what's left of my time. I got a finite number of years left here on this earth. I can love you from a distance. Y'all better get a passport. The hell with it. I'm just not doing it. So, and as far as our elders competing with the youth, I do believe that is a product of the bottom line is we got to a generation where, women started having kids younger. So it created younger grandmothers. I think it's not that we didn't have it before, but maybe the next generation waited longer. I don't know how they got into it. But, even at the ripe old age of 58, hell, I ain't dead. I ain't done living. So we're dying older, which is a good thing for me. And no, I'm not about to retire to a rocking chair on the porch to watch your damn kids. So I'm not competing with you. I'm not competing with you, but you ain't putting me in a box either. So if it comes off looking like competition, so be it. And I'm done.
All right, Rico. I'm gonna go ahead and answer the question in soapbox. If you can go, and then we'll wrap up with Hanifah. And I'll try to keep it short. I don't want 5 minutes for sure. I really do think it is a function of the breakdown of the family, and for multiple reasons. I think everybody spoke to us. That's why I don't think I need 5 minutes. The grandparents, a lot of grandparents and aunts and uncles now are having to take care of the children, like the grandchildren. You know what I'm saying? It's like their children's children or somebody else in the family. So then their development is arrested because they can't ascend to that next level. They can't ascend to eldership because they're still struggling for survival. On top of, capitalism economics force them to have to spend more money for their own outcomes, their health care, food, medicine, all that stuff is so much higher, let alone the kids that they're taking care of that they didn't have themselves. So I think that has a problem. When you're put under stress like that, you're going to seek distraction, and you're going to seek relief. So you're going to turn back to stuff like you used to do when you were younger. The music, the clubbing, the drinking. So you're going to look to alleviate some of that stress the same way the young people look to alleviate their stress when they come into the work world. So that's why there's that overlap, I think, that competition, because they're in the same roles as their children as adults. So they're, of course, going to exhibit a lot of the same behaviors. So I do think restoring the family, where people are taking care of their own children, there are two incomes, so you have more means to take care of the children. It benefits everybody, allows the grandparents to ascend to that level of eldership where they can just be a support role.
What the hell? R'Shaun? All right, let me pick this up. You guys know it wouldn't be the Rico and R'Shaun hour without a technical difficulty. But I'm going to lean in with what he was saying. I'm glad I was paying attention. I heard what he said.
That was funny.
I took your ass down.
Hey, YouTube put the timer on me, man. YouTube was like, nah, that's enough. But yeah, man, I think y'all heard what I was trying to say anyway. But I'm going to go ahead and let that go over to MrBest, please.
I'm here. Just throwing on my headset. Hold on. Is it a generational divide? Yes, it is. And I think that I think it happens because of not just technology, but also in our generations, we all are raised differently. So my generation, the fathers wasn't really in a home like that. So now we raising kids. So now we kind of going off of just kind of what we know or what we don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like we just kind of winging it sometimes. So that's gonna of course affect the kids, right? Like they're gonna of course be impacted by that. So that's what's going on. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, um, I think we have to have an understanding of where we all meet and what we all think. You know what I mean? I think if we do that, we'll be fine. We'll be perfectly fine, and things will work out at its best. But I think certain things, like I said, you can't dodge. Like you got to respect your elders. You know what I mean? And the elders, don't. I also in that don't make it too hard for the youngsters because sometimes we just don't know, and we need y'all. So you know what I mean? For the elders, I would just say that's the only piece I would tell y'all, man. Just you know, give me a layup. Give me an alley oop to the game. You know what I mean? I don't know everything. Help me out for real, for real. You feel me? So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. But yeah, Sean, go ahead and rock out.
All right, appreciate you, bro. Well, the last thing is, Miss Hanifah, this was your question. You've heard everybody's perspectives, as much as YouTube would allow me to speak. But go ahead and take it away on that question and that point. Hopefully, we addressed your question.
Yes, you guys did. And so as everyone was speaking, I was jotting down a few notes. But and I actually my thought process around it has evolved since I initially asked the question. But what I wrote down is that there are many factors. Clearly, one of the things that we are not talking about is that there is an abuse of power as well, right? There's an abuse of power dynamic involved in this, but we're not discussing that. And then there is the lack of village, because when you have village, the position of eldership is seen. It doesn't need to be taught. It is actually seen. And children, how do they learn? They learn by watching us. And the breakdown don't necessarily have to be because of dysfunction or trauma. It's like the scattering of families as well, right? People are migrating and moving to different areas. So how all grandparents lived in the same house, we don't really have much of that anymore, right? And then there is the our approach to parenting have evolved or regress depending on who you ask. So JP and Rico talked about how they parent their children. It's different from how their parented them. So their children's relationship with their parent is gonna look different because of their parenting, because they've changed their parenting. You got to look at it that way. Maybe when they were growing up, they weren't able to ask questions, but then they raised their children to question everything. So do you think that's going to exclude your parents simply because they're a grandparent? No. So it's a change in parenting as well. And the last thing I wanted to say is there's also a lack of knowledge of self, i.e., history. And I want to read my morning read this morning, and then I'm going to close out with that, because the history piece of it is what's missing. I think with a lot of our youth, they don't really know who they are. They have a very watered down, whitewash sense of self, and it's not good, right? It's all negative. So I just want to read what I read this morning, and it's funny. I read this because I feel like it connects to what we're talking about. This is from Dr. Amos Wilson in his book, The Falsification of African Consciousness, Eurocentric History, Psychiatry, and the Politics of White Supremacy. If you guys could get that book, grab it. But I'm going to go ahead and read, and then that'll be all for me, okay?
All
He
right.
says, when we suffer from social amnesia, we forget the debt we owe to the past and future generations. When we then misinterpret our accomplishments as solely our own individual achievements. I remind my college student audiences that you're not here in this college just because you're smart, because simply because you come from the right family, because you scored high on the SATs and all that other stuff. Blacks have scored high on the SAT since the beginning of time. We've had good families and right families from the beginning. We've had 4.0 students from the beginning. We had all that, and we were still kept out of those achievements. You're here because people who didn't score anything put their bodies and their lives on the line to see that you got here, and you owe them something for that. If this institution decides to put you out, it will be these same people who will be up here to see that you get in here again. Some of you want to forget that history and then claim you owe them nothing when you make your couple of little bucks in front of a TV camera and some other place. Then not only do you forget them, you forget the ones coming after you, and you don't make sure that they can also get in and their privileges are also maintained. You want to act like revolution is something that is temporary and not permanent. It is permanent. You forget your history and forget who you are and lose your obligation to the past, to those who made your success possible, and do not fulfill your obligation for those to come, some of whom will be your own sons and daughters. And the last thing he says is when we become socially amnesic, we forget our location in time and space, because history is about locating oneself in time and space. History is a grid, a set of coordinates that permit the individual to locate himself in reference to other points in the world. History is a mathematical concept. It is a geometrical concept. It locates and positions one relative to other things. I wanted to end with that. And that's more for the young people, because I think a lot of them are lacking that knowledge and awareness of self. And so they don't really understand their place. And when I say place, it's in quotes, or the part that they're supposed to play. So I just wanted to end with that.
Definitely appreciate that, Sister Hanifah. What was the name of that book again, please? Hold on, Rico. What was the name of that book?
The name of the book is The Falsification of African Consciousness. It is by Dr. Amos Wilson. Brilliant, brilliant mind. Mm-hmm.
No, definitely. Thank you for that.
From one Negro warrior to another, you got the fire too. Thank you for that, sister. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Everybody, I am going to put Sister Hanifah's channel in the chat as soon as I get back to it.
That was incredible. Thank you, Sister Hanifah.
But yeah, definitely.
And this is on replay, so
respect to you guys.
For anybody who didn't hear it, you need to play this over and over and over again. Every word she says, it speaks to our community. You need to hear it. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna take my paint off of it because it's greater than me. Thank you, Sister Hanifah. We need to do more educating our, when we talk about the generational divide, that's, Hanifah, thank you for leaning into your eldership before you got there. That's what eldership is. That's the teaching. No condescension, no berating, the teaching. That's what me, Bro Clarence, Sister Hanifah, R'Shaun, you almost there. We'll give you an early bonus card.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. It's that. It's that. It's not tearing anybody down publicly. It's that language. And they either take the teaching or they don't. But we teach, and that's all we do. Or that's all we should be trying to do. We had our time. It's theirs. Thank you, Hanifah. I can't say it enough. I can't shout you out enough, sister.
Salute, Brother Rico.
All right, Hanifah. Thank you for everything. Thank you for spending your time with us, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Peace, everyone. Enjoy the rest of y'all evening.
Sister Hanifah, I'll be reaching out to you tomorrow to schedule an interview.
Sure. Peace to everyone and respect to everyone on the panel. I'm out.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. We have one last question based on something MrBest said earlier, and I want to wrap it up with everybody's closing. So, does anybody have a specific time constraint that needs to go first, or sooner than later? Nobody. All right. So then we will start with OG Patrice. I'm gonna pull up the question, and just while you're doing it, would you wrap it up with shouting out any socials? So, MrBest earlier has said, to the youth, do you want to live? That's his motto for the youth. I wanted to get your take on that. If there's a specific message you want to give to the youth, or if you want to speak to the elders, and then wrap it up with your closing thoughts and social shout out. Just, that through line.
Yeah, I think that's a good analogy because I think just that question alone, a lot of people think it means physical, demise, if you know what I mean, in the sense of answering that. But you can be alive physically and be spiritually dead, emotionally, mentally, psychologically. There's so many ways, you can and be without life inside of you as a human being. And I think that is a good perspective that the younger generation need to take a look at. And a lot of times, where some of the contingent comes from is the fact that, because we're older, I think we kind of get misunderstood as, where the lack of respect could come from. Because my question is, it's a privilege to get older, because it's a privilege denied many in our community. When young Black boys and Black girls are not living to see their 25th and their 30th birthday, it's a privilege to grow old. And the younger generation have to get there one day. And I know because they're so young now, they don't see it. Because when I was young like them, I didn't see it either. I couldn't see it. And, my mother was old to me and my grandmother was old, and I get it. But I was raised with a certain amount of respect for my elders, period, point blank. I was on a platform the other day and watched a 70-something-year-old get disrespected on the panel, in the chat. 70, I think he said he was 72, 74. I was like, and I witnessed this, and I said, wow, is this where we at? And a lot of them were, you could tell they were younger because they was talking about his age. So they're younger. That's the first thing I think the younger generation go to, thinking they hitting us below the belt when they talk about how old we are, how this we are. But I tell you, growing old is a privilege is denied many of our people that's not living to see their 25th and 30th birthday. So, do you want to live? That's a great question. I know I'm glad I'm growing old gracefully. I'm embracing it. That saying Black don't crack. For the most part, it don't unless you're doing it. Now, if you're doing it, that's a different story. It's gonna crack. But I have no pushback on that, because the younger generation have to realize it's not just in the physical sense, but it's in all the other senses that I just named. Is the do you want to live? So I don't have any pushback for that. I just want to say in closing that I think that this is an absolute necessary conversation that needed to be had. Respect to the chat, respect to the panel. And I just hope that we can look back on this 1 year from today and remember the time when we did this. And remember who was all involved in this process of setting some form of history on YouTube for Black content creators. Remember this day, remember this moment, remember this time. And let's lead by example, the young and the old. I thank you for your time and thank you for allowing me to be on the platform. I don't have my YouTube channel up, but I just got word that my contract will be ending in May, so I will be able to get that up sometime after that. And just expect to see me continue supporting the people that I love to support when you bring in good quality, topics and content on your platforms, and OG will be there to support. I thank you guys so much. And I don't think I'm subscribed to Mr. He Said, She Said. So if you guys can drop your channel in the back in the private chat, I would love to subscribe. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you, OG.
Sister OG, me and Arshawn expect to be on that first All-Star panel. I can sing.
You don't have to sing or have talent to come on my platform.
No, but we definitely got to be there to support you 100,000%. So as you get close to that launch time, you definitely let us know so we can scream you out nonstop ad nauseum.
Thank you. Well, hopefully I'll be able to thank you. I appreciate it.
Don't thank me. Let me know. Don't thank me. Let me know so I can
Patrice,
put
me
that
too.
news out in the street.
Okay.
Go ahead, Clint.
Me too.
I will definitely do that. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
I love rocking with knowledge and relationships. Shout out to you guys, Rico, R'Shaun, all the panel up here, the gentlemen up here, and the chat, of course. Thank you guys for always
Don't thank
allowing me
us.
to come
Let us
on
know.
and do
Let
my
me
thing.
know so I can be out in them streets spreading the news, because there's a lot of people needing to hear and want to know that there's a place there's another place we can go for refuge. So what you said was solid, and that's what we're trying to do, is create spaces of refuge. It's like, okay, you can get your peace away from all the nonsense. And I know you're gonna do the same thing, and you're gonna sit there and you're gonna be preaching that ADOS and all this other informational knowledge that people in our community need to know. When they get so late, nobody didn't tell me. Go see Sister OG, okay? Go see Sister Patrice. You ain't got no more damn excuses. I'm tired of hearing it.
Absolutely. So, you know, I got love for my people, so I appreciate you guys saying that.
That's why I can't wait for you to get on the scene, sister. Thank you. God bless.
COG.
COG.
All right, gentlemen, from left to right, if you don't mind, want to do the same thing. So MrBest has said, do you want to live? That was his statement to the young people. So Mr. He said, give your statement to the young people. You can speak to the elders, and then wrap it up with your closing thoughts, and then shout out your channel.
It's a great question. It's a level question, speaks to many different levels. So, think about the question. Think about, do you want to live in a physical aspect? Think about, do you want to live in a mental aspect, future outlook standpoint, and just all of the levels that it could come with, because the question was absolutely asked to you in severity. And, a level of observation and self-reflection should be taken at that moment, whether it's physical or not. And if I had to say something to the elders, it would be, I apologize. And I'm trying to be the adult that I needed as a child. And all I can do is, like the brother said, lead by example, push the nonprofit community to do as much as I can do in the community that I'm in. And, just display manhood, which is, a set of qualities that are bestowed upon a boy to let him know how he should move when he becomes a man. And it's a lot of things inside of there, but, being somebody that is mindful of his community and respectful and providing economic, opportunity and being respectful to the people and a lot of other things that come with it. But I just try to be an example of manhood, try to be a positive man, a leader of my family, and a lover of my people. And I will always walk in, the footsteps of the ancestors that they don't talk about in the textbooks. You know what I mean? Those forgotten heroes and, my veterans. And salute to everybody on the panel. I appreciate y'all. I love the conversation. Rico, R'Shaun, you guys know how I feel about y'all. And Truth, you my guy. And MrBest, you already know how we do. It's March 9th, so
Yes,
And,
sir.
my brother as well. This is my first time being on the panel with you, but, I love your insight. I love your whole demeanor, and your voice is similar to my mentor. So I absolutely hear everything you said tonight. So I appreciate you guys, and I love y'all, man. Keep pushing the conversation forward.
Definitely. I'm going to drop your channel in the chat, too.
Yeah,
So,
brother, drop the brother's channel in the chat.
Mr. He said, I know you said this was your first time on the panel. Please don't let it be your last. Please don't. Because I think that, what you brought to the conversation is very important. It's very informative, and we need to hear more of it. We're doing everything we can, as I always tell R'Shaun, to sit in our space. This is y'all space. We just host it. So I don't want this to be a one and done. This is a home. This is a safe space. As you see, we're going to try to continue to nurture respectful, informative, intelligent conversation. Come up. And if you see us going left, all right, put foots in our ass. And say, hey, y'all brothers are better than that. Get better. You know what I'm saying? Because every so often, as we talked earlier in the conversation, sometimes people get misguided. We get distracted. Bruh, and I'm gonna do the same thing because you put your channel in, Harris Trap. I'm like, come on, Mr. He said, come on, you better than that. So we have to do that to each other. And as you came up and you offered all this great, dope information, I don't want this to be the last time I see you, sir. Please don't let this be the last time I see you. That's all I'm saying. Please. That's all I ask of you. R'Shaun, you're talking too much.
It wasn't my turn. I thought you was close. Oh, y'all. Okay, I caught you. I was trying to pull up a link. You caught me slipping. My fault. But yeah, Mr. She said, definitely appreciate you. Mr. He said your perspective was important and valuable. Please, what day is that show you said? Because you said you're going to be talking about podcast etiquette. So I'd like to tap into that.
Yeah, man, we on every Thursday at 8. Tomorrow we are on at 8 o'clock, and our
8 p.m.
subject, was, coincidentally going to be Podcast 101, podcast etiquette, man, how to behave as a host and a panelist and a chat member, because we all deserve that respect. We don't come out here, to be treated otherwise, just like we don't clock into work to be treated with any form of disrespect. We come to do what we come to do, push the conversation forward, and continue with our personal lives, and everything else is just unnecessary, very immature. And the last thing I'm going to say is that in our community, we lack a certain unity collectively and in a general perspective. And with this podcast world, we have a opportunity to create a whole new unity. And if you type in, podcasts has got to stick together, I've probably got a lot of those fucking hashtag quotes, because it's something that I really believe in. I love everybody's input. Everybody always got something that I can learn from. And I think if we stick together, we can demonstrate a unity that a lot of people need to see.
Absolutely. Be the change you want to see in the world. Absolutely. So I'll be tapping in tomorrow. And is it 8 o'clock Eastern? Okay, cool. 8 o'clock Eastern time. So y'all definitely pull up tomorrow, man. Definitely. All right. So good seeing you, Mr. He said, truth is never favored, sir. If you would do the same thing, do you want to live? Give any pushback, feedback on the comment, anything you want to say to the youth right now, anything you want to say to the elders. Wrap it up with your closing thoughts, and then we'll shout out your channel as well.
No pushback. I mean, that's pretty much what everybody should want to know. Do you want to live? And not just walking around, just walking around like the Walking Dead, just being alive. Do you want to thrive? Do you want to imprint on someone? Do you want to make a change? And like you talked about, be the change that you want to see. It starts with self first. Everything starts with self first. And then slowly but surely you will see your outside. It'll start to change. Now, my situation is a little different. Once I changed my behavior and became a better man and everything like that, I started being more aware of the evil in the world, because I no longer am what you would say a part of it. So it's very easy to not see certain things when you're a part of it, like you become in the midst of it. But once you start separating yourself and your behavior, your habitual tendencies and things start changing, you start looking at things a little bit different. Your world start changing. And then also you can start affecting other people. Once your behavior change, people will exemplify what you show them. We can all come on here and talk. Everybody talk. But what are we doing in our daily lives? Us as parents, what are we imprinting on our children? How are they growing up? How are they, showing, your leadership inside the household? Are they showing it to their peers? You see what I'm saying? That's one thing that I relish in, as being a father and everything like that. That's my goal, is to make sure that, my children, by the time they are 18, that they are way better than who I was. And I mean, even the individual I was at 18 before, I got into really getting into the streets and doing certain things and everything like that. But I want them to be better people than I was. I want them to actually understand what love is, how to sacrifice for others. You know what I mean? And most importantly, I think everybody should have these 6 qualities: love, loyalty, commitment, and accountability, integrity, and responsibility. You know, as always, I love all, and get out there and love someone, man.
You muted. You muted, R'Shaun.
Yep,
That's
as I
'cause
should
you're
be.
talking
As
too
I
much.
should be. Yeah, I
You're
can't shut
talking
up,
too much.
man. I'm cutting people off, man. No etiquette, no decency. My fault, y'all.
Uh,
But yeah, but yeah, Harris Tribe. I dropped them in the chat, so check them out. Subscribe, especially tomorrow. Truth is never favored. I got his link in the chat. Please go subscribe. Now it is time for the Elder of the Week. Brother Clarence got all this started with his show, recapping Kevin Samuels. So, Brother Clarence, if you could.
No. Negrosaurus number 1.
I won't say it.
That's a running joke between me and Clarence.
That's,
You old Negrosaurus.
Hey.
I'm not the wrinkle dinosaur. I'm
got you. Yeah, got you.
Oh,
but
man.
Brother Clarence, man, do you want to live? Any pushback or feedback? Say whatever you want to the youth, to the other elders. And, wrap it up and then shout out your channel.
Okay, brother, I'm gonna make it real quick. Do you want to live? Excellent question. A lot of these young brothers, they don't really care. You know what I mean? A lot of them don't really care, man. What they want more than to just be breathing is to be thought of on a higher level or to not be disrespected. That's what they want the most. And so it's gonna be, for those of us, I can tell you, brother, Mr. He Said, Truth, R'Shaun, Mr. B, Rico, most of us, we got that street side of us, so we can kind of connect, but it's hard for a lot of our people to connect with brothers in the street because they never been there. They scared of them for whatever reason. So it's going to take a level of creativity to reconnect with them and try to propose to them that it's better to live. I was speaking to somebody yesterday, and this brother was hot. This brother was angry, and he was telling me what he wanted to do to another content creator. Now here I am spending an hour and a half in the middle of something I had nothing to do with, trying to talk this brother out of doing something crazy to another content creator over YouTube. And no matter what I said to the brother, how I approached it, he just was so upset, at that. But I still kept trying. That's what we're going to have to be, man, because we're going to have to understand, those of us that, read the Bible, Jesus was not successful in most of the things he tried to do. Now, it wasn't his fault. It's just the people wasn't at the level where they could understand what he was talking about. They were in a whole nother mind frame. So we're going to have to be that persistent and just, keep the information out there. Just keep trying to get to them. And like I said, lead by example, man. And then try to show them that, yeah, maybe you out here hustling now, but we know where that train usually ends. So while you hustling, let's start getting you to transition into something else so that you don't end at that stop where this train is usually going to end up at. So, you know what I'm saying? We just got to keep being creative and thinking of new ways to approach the youth. As the elders, we can't do stuff like we saw KS do to that young boy Sway. We can't just, disrespect them and just not listen to them. A lot of times we'll some of us as elders will be like, no, just listen to me. Like Kevin Samuels unfortunately was at that time. No, just listen to me because I'm older than you. But these young people today, they're not like that. They expect to be at least respected, and they don't want to be disrespected at all. So we're gonna have to learn how to be more show them respect. That's what I like about Rico. Rico shows a lot of these young guys respect, and even though they might be 20, 30 years difference, he knows how to show them respect, and therefore he's able to connect with them, and I like that. And we all need to kind of get that creative where we can connect with them, and listen to what they say. I got a brother that comes on my show, Be Easy. I mean, this brother is smart, but he's like Rico, if you don't, you got to listen to them. You got to listen to what he's saying. If you don't, if you turn your head, you're going to miss something because the way they talk, they're giving you so much information so quickly if you turn your head. So we got to learn how to listen to these young men. So that's all I would say to the elders. We got to learn how to be more respectful to them and listen to them, and show them that we heard what they said, and then respond accordingly. And then at the same time, how we talk to these young men, first thing on the table has to be respect. I've been in a lot of gang. Man, I was in a nation gang. We did so many gang truces and gang walks and all that. I mean, but the first thing that those dudes wanted, they wanted to see that they was respected. That before we start talking about anything, they wanted to know their hood was respected, or their hood was respected, and everybody had the same amount of respect that was in the room. So that's what I say. That's what I say.
Nah, definitely, Brother Clarence. Definitely appreciate that perspective because that's important. I just shouted out your channel in the chat, so everybody please go over to Let's Talk the Better Black Life.
Thank you, brother.
And subscribe. I believe you got over 500 now, right?
Oh, 500, brother. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's keep the growth going. So let's get him to 1,000, everybody. Let's keep pushing. I know we ain't got 500 in here to get him to 1,000 tonight, but we can all get one. And
he just got me. That's right. He just got me. So there you go.
That's how you build.
Put your stuff out there. We all subscribe to it.
Yeah, just like that. Let's connect. MrBest, did you if you wouldn't mind, take a moment. Do you want to live, man? Get your last words in, and I'm gonna throw your channel in the chat as well.
Man. Thank you for the love and respect, everybody. Thank you, Bro Clarence, for everything. Thank you for Truth, man. You know how we rock. Mr. He said Brooklyn in the house, you know how we do. R3, Rico, I see you. Sean, what's going on? Man, to close it out, man, I'm gonna just say this, man. Number one, non-relationship is definitely in the building. Y'all know what it is. Intellectual, soapbox is in the building. Y'all know what it is with that. With that being said, look, man, this thing, for the young people, man, I know this ain't gonna come off PC, but at the end of the day, I really don't care. I really don't care, man, because at the end of the day, man, we in a state of emergency, man. We are in a state of emergency. All right. Well, y'all are in a state of emergency. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all gotta figure it out. I done mapped out what I'm trying to do and what I want to do. You know what I mean? Y'all 25 and under, y'all gotta figure it out, baby. You know what I'm saying? Not me. And the thing, and I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm just keeping it 100. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? The reason why I said that is I'm just keeping it 100 with you. Do you want to live? Y'all say you want people to keep it 100, right? You say you want to keep it solid, right? You say you want that black coffee, right? You want it raw? You want it straight? So I'm going to give you raw and straight. All right? Listen, forget how the message is delivered. I'm not giving no pushback to Bro Clarence because Bro Clarence, I love you. But forget how the message is delivered.
Push back on me.
Forget how the message is delivered. Did you get the message? Did you get it? You know what I mean? Dr. King, Malcolm X, they both had a different way to deliver the message, but they were delivering the same message. We tired of the BS. We want our people to have rights. Point blank, period. Right? They said in different ways. They had different ways of going about it. But the end all be all was they wanted our people to have a better life. Right? So did you get the message? The Panthers did it their way. You know what I mean? Did you get the message? I don't care how it comes at this point. You know what I mean? Tuck your pride to the side. You know what I mean? Do you want to live? Because y'all dying out here. You know what I mean? Y'all don't want us dying out here. Y'all don't want this that's running down on each other with, you know what I mean, with Dracos and all types of weapons and choppers and all types of stuff. Y'all running down on each other like that. You know what I mean? So do you want to live? You know what I mean? If you want to live, let's do it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, cut the BS. I'm not gonna curse because I'm being nice today. Cut the BS. Okay? Nah, I'm lying. Cut the bullshit. All right? Do you want to live? Point blank, period. If you want to make it, you're gonna have to listen to somebody. My grandfather told me, he said, "Boy, you got to listen to somebody someday." You know what I mean? He kept it 100. Do you want to listen to somebody someday? Because you're gonna have to. You know what I mean? Well, I can't finish my thoughts because somebody just popped up. I gotta introduce him. He is knowledge relationship itself. You know what I mean? He is, you know what I mean, the, you know what I mean, chief operating officer of knowledge relationship. You know what I mean? I see him in the back. He got the shades on. The original shades. I know R3 got his shades, but he got the original shades. You know what I'm saying? I got introduced the big homie, the man. M3, what up, baby?
Woo!
M3.
I was trying to play my sound effects and they didn't play. Hold on.
Yo.
Anyway, so bro.
Rio.
What's up? What's up,
Yeah.
everyone? What's up? What's
M3?
happening?
What up,
Yeah,
M3?
Man.
He out of
Put
town.
him three up top. Put him up top. There you go.
Hold on for a second. Let me adjust some things real quick. I'm gonna get to y'all in just a second. Let me make sure I get my sound effects ready. You know what I mean? There we go. Hold on. Am I connected?
When you down there getting a pedicure?
There we go. All right. First,
You can get the old
all right.
done.
All right. First and foremost, Rico, take off those sunglasses, right? You know, you're not cute looking like that. But second of all, right? Let me say this, right? All right. You know, obviously, man, people want to see they're selective when it comes to their listening, man. You know, you could preach from sun up to sundown, MrBest in the world. But by the end of the day, are they really listening? And by the end of the day, I don't think so. I'm not convinced yet. Because if they was really, really listening, you'll see a big change, man. You know, you won't be seeing all this bullshit that's going around in the YouTube streets. You won't be seeing all this bullshit that's going on in real, actual fucking life. Okay? Yep. So let me just make this clear. You know, everybody want everyone to hold each other accountable when it comes to these strangers. But what are you doing in your own home life? Are you taking care of your family? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you listening to Kevin Samuels and go seeing a therapist? Because come on, let's just be for real. The black culture, man, definitely needs a lot of therapy. Because you know why? We have so much self-hate in ourselves. Okay? See, we're the so-called Martin Luther King preaching type of race where we talk about we forgive this and we forgive that, but why can't we forgive our own people? Why so hard to not hold a grudge? But that's it, right? Sometimes I be getting my words mixed up. You know,
no, you good, bro.
Whatever,
go ahead.
But you know, I mean, correct me if I twist up. But why is it so easy to hold a grudge, but it's so hard to let go of the hurt, the anger, the pain within our own people? Why can't we trust each other? Why can't we just work together? Come on, man. This is like the smallest space. Yet, this is a space that can actually provide opportunities for the African. This can provide opportunities, right, for our people. It could help us to bridge gaps between other races as well, too. It don't always have to be a black thing, but because we are talking about black issues, it starts with us first. Once we finish dealing with our own issues, okay, and forgive our own selves, then we'll be able to pull together as a unit and learn how to deal with other nationalities of people and get the gain from them. But as long as we keep having all these faulty beefs, you know what I mean? Beef, pork, whatever you want to call it, spam. As long as we continuing to keep beefing and tearing each other down, man, we're not getting nowhere. Y'all just preaching a bunch of bullshit, okay? And we got to stop with the fucking bullshit.
Can I interrupt and ask you a question, Mr. M3?
Sure.
Give me one time. Come on, like the thumbnail.
Hater.
Oh, for real?
You're a hater, man. You're a hater.
I said, really M3? I said, damn, looks like he got a gun. I said, oh, shit. I thought that was no. I thought that was Chica, right?
Oh,
shout out to the
I
PBC.
said I'm gonna bust
Yeah.
his chops. Look, and I hate to tell you, Mr. M3, I'll fuck with you before I fuck with her. She got much bigger guns than you do.
Man, she ain't got guns. She got nukes. All right.
Yes.
Right.
So, you know.
Yes, you saw that.
Don't be on my bad side, bro. I'll get him. You know.
I
Yeah.
can't
Even
believe
after-
what I said. You know what? Hey, Mr. Best. When I first saw it, I said, "Oh, he photoshopped that shit. His arms ain't that big, right?"
He a prime time hater. M3. He a prime time hater, man.
Right. Meanwhile, you know, Rico's arms is flab like this, though, right? See, I can't even do the flab, right? Because my arms won't let me. You know what I mean? But, you know, just did a video of that.
Let me say this last point. Though.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I just want to say the last point,
Bust your
though.
chops about-
I'm saying what I'm saying, you know what I mean, because, you know, I know that there may be somebody who will listen, though. You know what I'm saying? And there'll be somebody who will want to be better and trying to do better. You know what I mean? There's always a needle in the haystack. And I'm hoping that there's more than one needle in the haystack, for real. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I know that there's somebody that needs to hear what I'm saying and will actually take it in retrospect. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you know, if I can impact one person, that's all it is. You know what I mean? Because like I said, we in a state of emergency. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean, things gotta change, man. With that, Sean, close it out, baby. You know what we doing. Let's roll.
Mr. Best, don't you dare. Don't you dare. I ain't said my piece. And because I want
Oh, where he did? My bad.
No, that wasn't it. I had to give M3 a hard time with his little flex, okay? Chica, she got the nuke and you got a little pea shooter, okay? I'm gonna listen to her, not you.
Oh, damn.
But no, I love you, brother. I love you. I said, damn, that really is him. I was like, let me look at Chica. Oh, fuck him. Chica she got some guns, right? But no, I did want to speak to what all bullshit aside. I love you, brothers. I love you, brothers. And first and foremost, let me thank everybody that came up on the show with us tonight. Harris Tribe, Media, Mr. She said, I apologize if I'm saying anything wrong. Bro Clarence, you know the deal. Sister OG Patrice, JP, the aspiring matriarch, Jay Takashi. Arshawn will say all the names that I'm going to screw up, so I'm going to stop right there. But I really thought about your question, which is the thing, Mr. Best, that got me earlier when you kept saying, do you want to live? And when I first saw it, I was like, damn, it's kind of a strange question. I saw somebody in the chat. And I was like, it's not a question of like, do you want to live? But for me, it was like, how do you want to live? So I replaced the do you want with how. Because to me, quality is more important than quantity. So and in my head, I posed a question. If I could ask all of you, I'm not asking all of you, it's a rhetorical question. If you knew tomorrow your mortality would end in 10 years or it'll end in 10 days, how would you live? It would be, for me, it would be vastly different. If I knew I would live for another 10 years, things that would be important to me would be totally different than if I knew I only had 10 days left. And that's how I think we need to start to try to pose the question to ourselves. Because I would tell you this, as the senior elder, I mean, look at myself, as the oldest motherfucker left here on the panel. I'm just gonna say it that way. I'm not gonna, because and the only reason I say this is because it was a serious question that was posed earlier, where like eldership is not just about age; it's about character and behavior. And I do believe in that. So I'm not going to ascribe myself as having a character or behavior above anybody, because the youngest person on the panel could have better character or behavior. But as the oldest person on the panel, I can tell you when you get to a certain age, and I don't know if Bro Clarence has got there or not, but I know I have, I start to question my mortality. I know I ain't gonna be here forever. And I start to think about it. Now, y'all in your 40s, mid 40s, early 40s, 30s, whatever, y'all might still think, oh, I'm gonna live forever. Because I did then. At 58, I getting scared as a motherfucker every day. Like, oh Lord, my cholesterol is high, my back is hurting. I might go upstairs and go sleep tonight and then get up. So you will get to a space and time where you start to question your mortality. And then I do start to think about, like, okay, what is the value of my time on this earth has been, and what will the remainder of the years be? Right, bro, Clarence?
Right.
Am I talking out of pocket? You start to think about that shit.
Yeah, you get to a certain age. Yeah.
Will. And all I'm sitting there saying is, the question that MrBest proposed, I was like, yeah, even tell these young guys in their 30s, it's not just because, like you said, maybe they won't get to 37, MrBest. But whatever finite amount of time you got, how are you living? Not how do you want to live? What are you doing with the time you got? Is it all about the nonsense and the fuckery and the bag and this, that, whatever? What value are you giving? Because it's important. It's important. I like to think I'm gonna be here another 30 years. I might be here another 30 minutes. And once I'm gone, I'm gone. It scares the shit out of me each day. Because I don't know if the next day is promised. And I'm not scaring you guys. I'm just sitting there saying, I wish I never had anybody older than me say these things to me. You guys are in a space where you got this old crusty, y'all can say, oh, that old crusty bastard, but you know what? I never heard those words where an older person told me, I'm scared of dying. And I think if I had heard that, I just didn't hear that. I just woke up one day and motherfucker was dead. Like, really? That's how it happened? I'm telling you, I'm not scared to death of it, but I think about my mortality because I'm in a space where you guys are not. So you can think to do better. I probably would have made better decisions in my 40s and 30s if somebody had talked to me about it. I'm not going to say I was going to be no saint because I was still going to be out there chasing hoes.
Hey.
What I'm saying, but I would have done it a little more thoughtfully, if that makes a difference. So all I'm telling you is, in your youth and discretion, do it a little bit more thoughtfully, because you're gonna wake up one day in the same place as me and bro Clarence, and you have to ask yourself, did somebody say something like, you know what, that old dirty bastard Rico did say this? Like, yeah, I told your ass, I be heaven, hell, wherever I'm at. But you can't say no one didn't tell you. So it's not, do you want to live, but how do you want to live? What's the value you want to do with your time here? Because we're all here for a finite period. I don't know what it is. I ain't got no, I don't know how long R'Shaun's gonna be here. I don't know how long I'll be here. But believe me, it's a finite fucking period. And I'm done. R'Shaun?
All right, everybody. I definitely want to thank all of you for coming out and spending your time with us. Definitely appreciate everybody in the chat. We didn't get to spend a lot of time on the chat because we had such a loaded panel. So I just want to shout out everybody that came through because I did mark them. Everybody I didn't mention earlier. So we had Dominique Anthony. Thank you, brother, for coming through. We had Moments with Mickey Red pop through. Mrs. She said, she was in the chat. She had some great points that she had dropped in. It's me, Shell. Thank you for spending a little time with us. Our boy Yella had dropped by. CBN, Canadian Born Nigerian, a.k.a. Black David. Thank you for stopping by. Our brother Sim Simma, RRP. Check out his YouTube channel. He's got some nice shorts with good messages. Apex Alpha Simp, Tristan Draper in the building. Thank you. Ron P., our brother. Thank you again. Brother Clarence on the panel, so I don't need to shout him out again, but he's here. Let's talk to Better Black Life. Mika Marcel popped in for a little while, as so did Chef Shapino. Thank you, sir. Our brother Marcus Rodriguez popped in, and newcomers to me, we had Uncle Guns stop by, so thank you for spending a little time with us, Uncle Guns. Never seen you in the chat before, but glad to see you. Information Man Show, I've seen you other places. Thank you for stopping by. And We Unlock Nation, definitely. First time seeing you, but thank you for stopping by, spending time with us. Hopefully we can all connect. Brittany B, thank you for coming. Blaze Brown just popped in, so thank you, Blaze. And I already got Uncle Guns. And the other one, Cars Car. Thank you, sir. I've seen you in the chat. You had some you dropped a couple of jewels, so thank you for everything that you dropped as well. That's it for the chat. Thank you for spending your time with us. Big Bad Bull just popped in. Oh, man, last minute. Appreciate you, brother. Definitely for popping in. I want everybody that can, everybody on the panel, everybody that's left. I am dropping a link in the chat right now, and I'll put it in the private chat. If you could all go over at the end of this stream, go over to Auntie JP's stream, drop a like, drop a comment pre-show, and then come back later on when it starts up, because I think it'll be about 2 hours from now. So if you can't do anything, if you can't stay up that late, or if you just, what it doesn't matter. Just drop the like in the comment, because you can do that in 2 seconds and be out. So that's what I want everybody to do. But that's pretty much it. Hopefully the conversation brought something out that's useful for you. I want to appreciate everybody that contributed. Rico, M3, MrBest, Bro Clarence, everybody that's already popped off, like Truth, and Mr. He Said just popped off. So thank you all. Hanifah, JP, OG Patrice, thank you all so much. Jay Takashi, I was looking for your live so I could put it in there, but I didn't see it go live yet. But that's pretty much it for me. We will be back here tomorrow for the flagship show. M3, you want to give the people a preview, or they should just pop up? You want to tell them what it's about?
You talking about
Yeah, I don't know
like
what it's about, man.
The flagship show tomorrow,
tell
10
us what
Eastern?
it's about.
It's a surprise.
Surprise. All right,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a surprise. So, and we all love surprises. So make sure you're back here tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 Eastern. You figure out the math between the two coasts, and we will see you all tomorrow. And I'm about to hit the intro on you.
You mean the
I'll see
outro?
y'all. Yeah.
Bro, let me say, Bro Clarence, thank you, brother. I see you
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Yes,
From
sir.
one Negro
Yes,
source to another Negro source.
I see you tomorrow, man. I'm gonna hit you and give you the details. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, brother.
All right, and Rico, do not drop off. MrBest asked us to stay. I know you drop off so quick. You exit strategist,
I'm good.
man. All right,
I'm good.
wrap it up,
I got
Rico.
good night.